for Institute of Public Affairs, Tirupati. Sir has published various research papers, books, and monographs in the field of economics and other fields also. Sir has given various eminent lectures throughout the world. I would like to quote some of it. Books such as Principles of Economics, Indian Economic Policies, Agriculture Problems, Ethics and Environment, Gandhian Globalization, Development Scenario of Rayalaseema. So nearly 19 books Sir has published towards public awareness and education scenario. Sir also worked as a seminar director in various fields such as rural finance, marketing, economics of healthcare for underprivileged food crisis, lesson from policies and programs. Sir handled major research projects such as UGC Teacher Fellowship Program, assessment of agri-industry pollution in AP, etc. We can say that Professor Rangareddy Sir is a legend in his way of publishing and presenting the papers and giving the lectures. Sir has given around 250 presentation and talks in various fields. Under Sir guidance, nearly 289 students are awarded doctorates. So we can't have a particular set of times to express about Professor Rangareddy Sir. At least we need a day to explain. So Sir is definitely a role model for each one of us. Okay. So with this short introduction, I am handovering a session to our eminent speaker of the session, Dr. Rangareddy Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity given.
Okay, thank you very much for nice words you have used over me. And also, see, your analysis really makes you to attract each and every one. Today, my lecture is on New Education Policy 2020, turns into global education hub or hopes. Just.
But man will change.
Huh?
Man will change.
Just. Where I have to touch?
No,
see, the new education policy, the paper highlights on National Education Policy 2020 and its practicality in the socio-economic, political, cultural conditions of India. Education is the most effective means of social justice and personal advancement. There is no better investment than that in education to improve the future of the society. Mark Twain, very famous novelist in America, he said, education roots are bitter, but fruits are sweeter. See, same way, Father of Nation Mahatma Gandhi felt that education has been taken as a whole. A vocation is the best medium for the all-round development of a boy or a girl. And therefore, the syllabus should be woven around vocational training. Babu, just slide. As per the 12th five-year plan document, just 5% of people between the ages of 19 to 20 received vocational education. National Education Policy 2020 aims to break stereotypes and bring changes the perception of vocational education. The school and college education will be broadened to facilitate multiple paths to learning involving both formal and non-formal education modes. The new National Education Policy represents a turning point in that regard. Abandoning the country's traditional approach, the National Education Policy suggests an Indian educational sector for growing and catalyzing quality resources in the nation. The National Education Policy 2020 envisions the establishment of a national research foundation. Swami Vivekananda, the son of the soil, who has beaconed the light of Indian culture, once observed, I would prefer playing to the football game in the open ground instead of reading the Bhagavad Gita within the four walls. John Dewey, a famous philosopher of America and a psychologist of America, introduced the so-called learning by doing theory. Cultivating good values such as altruism, humility, honesty, cooperation, and sacrifice, and positive social attitude among the youth can enable the young to survive in the external world of deceit, injustice, and criminality. Nalanda and Tachasila universities in the 5th and 6th centuries were the highest centers of learning in the world. These universities of yore attracted students and scholars from all over the world by virtue of their erudite and eminent scholars and the high quality of their education they offered. The new features of a school education. National education policy is framed after many years of labor by a panel led by Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan and feedback of more than 2 lakh people, including stakeholders. It is found that the medium of instructions should be in mother tongue up to grade 5th and curricular and pedagogical framework of 5+3+3+4. Every child must learn at least one vocation and is exposed to several more. We will go for innovative pedagogy with the experience and actively based integrating Indian art, sports, and information technology, national curricular and pedagogical framework for early childhood care and higher education institutions will be transformed into large multidisciplinary universities, colleges, and higher education institutions, clusters, and knowledge hubs. University will be classified into research intensive universities, teaching intensive universities, and autonomous degree granting colleges. The 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor program preferred options. Suppose student studied 1 year's degree, a certificate, 2 years diploma, and 3 years bachelor degree. It will go to open and distance learning, expanded online courses, and digitalization repositories, funding for research, improved student services, credit-based knowledge, recognition of massive open online courses, MOOCo, etc. It is a gesture to involve internationalization of education, allow entry of foreign universities, students, and faculty mobility. Higher Education Commission of India, the umbrella architecture, bound with 4 independent bodies for standard setting, funding, accreditation, and standard setting. Public and private higher educational institutions will be governed by the same regulations, accreditation, and academic standards. The time has come for the integration of technology to improve classroom processes, support teacher professional development, enhance educational access for disadvantaged groups, and streamline educational planning, administration, and management. Ramnath Kovind, President of India, noted that investment was only 0.7% of the GDP in India is a comparison to 2.8% in the US, 4.2% in South Korea, 4.3% in Israel. Ramnath Kovind said, new education policy emphasizes strengthening of a public education institutions for a vibrant democratic society and inculcating respect among fourth, socio-economic political, cultural conditions and acid test. In fact, the quality of a school is the foundation for education system. When rural India had a shortage of infrastructure facilities, the introduction of vocational courses, online facilities takes a time. After independence, population growth, poverty levels, and pollution's intensity alarmingly raised in the country, so that to make quick money, cash, corruption, and criminality were found everywhere, including the education system. Sale of teacher posts, sale of vice chancellor posts, selling of seats in colleges and universities were found common. As a democratic country, political interference is found at every point of entry of a school to university, either student or employment or promotions. As educational institutions depend upon state finances, state intervention is there at every point. Centuries together, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, Humboldt universities were working without political interruptions. And institutions could not be made them to run on their legs. As no question of higher and fire policy, so that quality will be deteriorated and creativity is no more in the system. In India, cooking of facts and figures in the system is in the natural order. We are optimistic. National Education Policy 2020 may help to generate an honest society, provided the ethical revolutions enters into the Indian society. In the near future, it is quite doubtful and may కింద ఉంది matter. Anyhow, we are coming for conclusion. After 34 years, new education policy 2020 is going to bring new India. From the school level, we are introducing general and vocational courses so that a boy or girl can opt for self-employment or joining in a higher education. The essence of a past glory will be added to the courses so that students can carry the legacy and the heritage of India for future generations. Science, technology, digitalization, modernization of education will be taken place. The school, college, university curriculum, examination system, offering degrees, incentives for innovations, scholarship portal, foreign universities are to be inculcated, innovated in the education system. The lingering menaces like a political intervention, corruption, fake autonomy will go, and merit, quality, ethics will have penetrated, and India will becoming a global education hub as earliest like a Nalanda, Takshashila. I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
No. Okay, thank you. Any questions are there? They can raise questions, madam.
Yes, sir.
Questions are there because the Indian system is highly polluted in the education. Though we have a number of education, there are 800 universities are there, 40,000 colleges are there in India. But still, we are not getting more Nobel Prize winners in the world. That is the difficulty we are facing because of creativity has not come up so far among the educational institutions because of all menaces like corruption, political intervention, and caste, color, creed problems, and see the disparities between state to state, language problems. All these things makes the country a difficult path for going to quality education. Quantity is there, but quality we have not achieved so far. We want a quality education. That is, every student should be a Nobel Prize winner. Like that, they have to go. That we want actually. In education system, there is a vision. Quality education is to be given to the students. That is our objective. Our vision of national education policy is the national education policy envisions an Indian centered education system that contributes directly to transforming our nation's sustainability into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all. Indiscriminate, we are not discriminative. All Indians are one. All should get the quality education so that all can go to any country. Because the one thing we want to tell to the students, language is not important. Any language you can go, but you have to be a global citizen. Now we are calling every student is a global citizen. After education, he can go to any nation in the world. And also there is a nice adage is there. Think globally, act local. See, you think entire globe and let practice a good way of your local development also. That we want. See, education is always changing the mindset of a student and a character. Gandhi said, education without a character is a sin. What Gandhi said earlier. And wealth without work is a sin. Science without a human face is a sin. What Gandhi said. And politics without principles is a sin. So Gandhi has given a right direction for national development in education also. Not only Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, all those people, but our father of nation has given a strong approach. Education without a character is a sin. That goes a longer way in the character of student development. Very often, you see, there are so many earlier in our country, the people who have done good education, they are, see, the people like scholars like Charaka, Sushruta, Aryabhatta, Bhattacharya, Chanakya, Patanjali, and Panani, and numerous other scholars. Even if you goes back to epic level, see who is Valmiki, how he has written Ramayana in the country, and who is Vyasa, who has written Mahabharata. All are the low level people have taken a risk of their life and they brought the knowledge to the world and made India as a great country in the global level. That we are thinking. See, our ancient people also, and very often we are talking like see the libraries. Our education system is identical with the information. The libraries are the greatest sages of the world, and the encyclopedias are the greatest rishis. That we are calling, especially our Kasturi Rangan report has highlighted many salient features of the global level also. See, the India conquered and dominated China culturally for 20 centuries without even having to send a single soldier across the border, because our culture has shown to the global level, but not in China. Sustainable Development Goal 4 seeks to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Even UNO has given education shall be free at least in the elementary and fundamental stages, and the elementary education shall be compulsory. So that in a Vajpayee government brought the compulsory education system in India, that law also made in parliament, so that now education is must for everybody. Whoever born on Indian soil, he has to undergo education at cheapest cost at a elementary level. That we want. And quality education will be a key part of the transition of the knowledge economy that is culturally underway in parts of India, but needs to encompass the entire country. And several philanthropists, organizations, foundations, as well as many other cultural faith-based and community organizations from the Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, and Sikh communities, the Christian missionary groups, Jain sects, and so on, stand out in the large numbers of early institutions started, many of which are still some of the leading educational institutions they started, many of which are still some of the leading educational institutions in the country today. So the educational system, many religions also, they started their own educational system and they have given education to the people. Quality universities and colleges. There is a universities are now there are 800 universities in this country. 40,000 colleges are there. 4% of colleges have enrollment over 3,000 students. The education, this time, this Kasturi Rangan report has given, there is a National Research Foundation. This is a new innovative concept introduced by Kasturi Rangan. That is a National Research Foundation will give fellowships to all over India students who are eligible because of poverty. There are three types of universities. One is research, pure research universities. Another one is teaching universities. And third one is colleges. All higher educational institutions will either be universities or degree granting autonomous colleges. There will be no affiliating universities, affiliated college. This is becoming a challenging task in India. Even National Knowledge Commission, Pitroda also, Sam Pitroda has given, recommended this one also. No affiliation. Every college is autonomy and it has to work in its own way for producing degrees to award the students. But this is not happened in India even today. 2009, Sam Pitroda brought the report, National Knowledge Commission, that affiliated colleges system should go like an American economy. Every college have their own autonomy, degree producing students are there. But in India, many of the colleges are refused to take autonomy. In Andhra Pradesh also, especially under Venkateswara University, we have given autonomy for Jawahar Bharati in Kavali, BT College, Madanapalli, and some local colleges also we have given. But those people, they have not taken seriously, refused to take autonomy. Because autonomy is necessary to grow in their own style and development of education process. This is not taken place here in Andhra Pradesh also. So all higher educational institutions will either be universities or degree granting autonomous colleges. There will be no affiliating universities, affiliated colleges. Is really a doubtful one in the country where too much of politics are playing it every day and every minute. And the another most important thing in the new educational policy is internationalization of a higher education. Now we are opening foreign universities can enter into India, and our universities can go to other countries also. This exchange program now we accept it, because earlier we hesitated not to give permission for foreign university. Now this new education policy has opened the gates for foreign universities. They can come and join in Indian education system. They can start their own windows, and they can run their colleges. Already some universities also have branches, Harvard and Cambridge, Oxford also in certain locations in India. But still we are hesitating to give permission. And another thing also, we invited foreign university students also to come to our university. Some private universities now they invited already, like a Vellore Institute of Technology, SRM universities, and some Madras University, Usmania University, Hyderabad. They invited the students from foreign countries also. But many of Indians are going abroad for American or European countries. They are going for studies. But foreign students are coming very limited. Only backward country students are coming to India, but not the rich countries students are not coming to India. This is one of the black mark. The another one is faculty recruitment will be on the basis of academic expertise and depth, on teaching capabilities, disposition for public service. The teachers should be highly qualified teachers we have to recruit for the institution. This is earlier days onwards, so we are going on this one, either Public Service Commission or 5-member selection committee way as a UGC directed. Now we are selecting the teachers also in the institutions. Of course, there may be some weaknesses or some leakages may be there, but anyhow, India is adopting the UGC norms in selecting or recruiting the teachers also. So the another important change now coming in India is fourth industrial revolution is already underway, and disruption technology such as artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has entered now, so that robots are coming up. So even robots are teaching like a teacher now in certain institutions. Robots are, that is artificial intelligence organs are competitive to real teachers. So the robots are playing a number of roles, not only supplying in a hotels or see carrying the heavy burdens, see missionary also, but they are very sensitive in even teaching level also. Now robots are playing, so the unemployment rate may rise in the country if robots are we introduced for teaching also. That is a very $1 million question. So though we are using the blockchain technology and virtual reality, Internet of things we are using, national policy and skill development, entrepreneurship, So vocational education, we are giving a top priority. Though we had a number of educational commissions, Kotare Commission, Radha Krishna Commission, Sham Pitroda Commission, and now the present Kasturi Rangan Commission. All commissions are recommending quality education. Quality is to be given to the student, so that we want see more Darwins, or see the more Ramans or Rabindranath Tagores who have to produce in the country, provided we have to give a quality and a clean atmosphere, environment for students in the campuses, so that students will get a new ideas, so that he can make a, see, India as a global hub in inviting students all over the world. Like earlier we invited Tachasela and Nalanda universities, how they attracted global students. Now we want to go on that lines, so that quality education today, the quality degrees, and Cambridge and Oxford. Today, after 1,000 years, Oxford University has brought a Oxford co with the Tika. See the wonder. See, after 1,000 years it is working, but no disturbance in Cambridge or Oxford in London. See, no politics, only purely by merit only the institutions are running. So the global students are coming, and they are enjoying and going back with a entrepreneurial talent from these institutions. Even Humboldt and Hardwar, Stanford universities also going on the same lines. So this way, what we want to Kasturi Rangan report, they introduced school level classification, degree, 4 years degree, and also at a higher education under one umbrella they brought. And the education system is, this time they have recommended one national research foundation. That is, a scholarship will be given all over India, students from national foundation institutions. And universities are two types of universities they introduced. That is a teaching universities, research university. This is the biggest boost for research activity also. And the colleges they have given. Now we have a 40,000 colleges in this country. 40,000 colleges have to come up without affiliation to any university. They have to come up like a same university status that we want in future. But it was not happened. But another thing is, the most important point which I want to enlighten here is hire and fire policy. In government institutions, once the faculty member enters, he may work or he may not work. But just like in America, there should be an evaluation system of a teacher. For 3 or 4 years, we have to evaluate. Once he is reaching up to mark, okay, you can extend his service. If once he is not achieved the required evaluation marks, we have to drop him from the job. This type of a hire and fire policy is to be adopted in India. This is not in the Kasturi Rangan report, because of communist parties or all opposition parties, maybe they have not given this type of a radical reform. This reform is needed in the economy, so that a pressure is to be there for employee to do hard work, revision of syllabus, revision of his teaching methods, and also his research activities, and his bringing funds for the organization and making organization as a sustainable organization that we want. The institutions should not depend on either state or other. They have to generate their own funds. The sustainability should be there among the organizations, so that they have to go longer period like a Cambridge and Oxford, which are sustaining since 1,000 years above. Why not our institutions have to go like that? So we have to go long-term policies are to be adopted, and either financially or in quality of education or quality of a syllabi or quality of a examination system, and evaluating the student developments through paper writing or online courses. Now we are very thankful to COVID. Because of COVID, now everything is going on online. Either interviews or PhD interviews or seminars or conferences, all are going on webinar only. This type of a system, because of a COVID, brought this reform, we can say, directly or indirectly. We are grateful to COVID for using digital age. So these are the certain salient features which I analyzed to you for the on Kasturi Rangan report of a new education policy. 8 more others members also they have written this draft new education policy. Finally, cabinet has approved it already, and so from this year onwards, I think new education policy will come into effect, so that only the drawbacks are they have not given importance of our higher and file policy like a Western countries. Too much of politicalization is to be removed totally in the campus. Campuses should be always very pleasant way of generating innovative ideas are to be there, and then only universities can generate new ideas, and the economy will get a boost up. And another important thing is ethical revolution has not yet come. Ethically, the teacher, student, and management should go ethical approach. That is a moral and ethical approach we have to adopt, so that among students we have to give value system. Values are to be maintained. See, respecting elderly people, or respecting the teachers, or respecting the society, respecting the democratic system, are to be given top priority in the economy. So the student, the tomorrow's citizen, who is going to rule the country, should have a value system. Corruption is there everywhere in the economy. That should go. Corruption should go. That is a bribery economy, always a dangerous, a threat for national development also. So the bribery, crimes should not be, violence should not be there in the campuses. Non-violence, we have truth and non-violence. What Gandhi has brought to freedom through truth and non-violence, we have to follow those truth and non-violence, so that we are often talking about tamasoma jyotirgamaya. See, asatoma satgamaya, mrityorma amrutam gamaya, om shanti shanti shanti, which we are talking in our classes, is to be practiced. Then only a student will do wonders for tomorrow's India's development. That is what we are expecting from the new education policy realities. Realities, we have to see the ground realities, we have to answer them. Then only the economy will get a boost up. So the booster can come through value system only. Values are to be practiced very rigorously at a ground level, so that tomorrow economy will be very bright and very see the potential for development of society and global level. We earlier days we have given education to global students. Now again we have to come out to that stage to give quality education with the value system to the global students, so that the globe, we have to remove all nuclear weapons. So the globe should be a peaceful place. Tranquility, peace and tranquility should be maintained, so that man can live Satamanam Bhavate. 100 years he has to live happily over the earth with knowledge and with fellow beings help and love. We have to go, so that the economies can do wonders for the future level. so that the institutions are really doing excellent jobs, like Seven Hills or other institutions. They are doing an excellent job in giving quality education to students. So that I will try to finish here.
Excuse me, sir. Hello? Hello? Sir, please unmute, sir. Hello?
Babu.
Yes, sir. Now it's okay, sir. Just 1 second while it went, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. See, any questions from the audience? In that time?
Still we have 10 more.
Emma.
Yes. Sir, still we have a half an hour time, sir. Up to 11 the session
any
was
questions?
scheduled.
Oh, okay. Questions and answers.
Yeah, there is no questions in the chat box, sir, but faculty members can...
even faculty also. Anybody, they can question me.
Requesting
Because of practical life, we are seeing the practical way as a teachers, societies, how they are running, how our institutions are working, our neighboring institutions, how they are working, whether really we are giving a quality education to students or not. These questions have to come from faculty members also. Nothing wrong.
Faculty members are requested to unmute your mic and
yes,
can ask all the queries to sir. So I'm requesting the faculty members to post some queries in the chat box or just unmute your mic and raise a question. Sir, meanwhile, as you said,
faculty
College, sir, 42.
And
yeah,
meanwhile, sir, because of this national education policy, there is a,
madam,
because of this national education policy, there is a need to have some changes in teachers also. What sort of readiness is required for teachers to adapt this national education policy?
Teachers have to upgrade their knowledge always by sitting in the libraries, and for every 5 years they have to change their syllabus also. There should be a good reader. A teacher means a lifelong learner and lifelong learning come raising skilled person. So that in a multi-dimensional way, he has to develop his character. In skills, presentation, in attending seminars, conferences, and getting new knowledge. And you also host some seminars and conferences here, so that many people, see the talented people will come to you for interaction, madam. That way, exchange is to be made as a compulsory. A teacher has to attend, present his papers on the latest developments wherever it is happening, so that a teacher will get a new knowledge. He can get a new knowledgeable friends also in seminars and conferences. Once you are attending, you will get a number of insights over the development of that area. So that a teacher should be always evergreen student for us. Student will complete a degree and will go. But a teacher is always an enlightening student, and also himself improving his new talent. He has to write papers and publish the leading journals. That should be there. And always he has to search for a new ideas. That we want, madam.
Yes, rightly said, sir. And because there is a one provision in the national education policy, like multiple entry and multiple exit. Like the students, if they are interested to continue, they can continue, or even if they want to take a break, 1 year break, again they can rejoin. So there are multiple entry and exit options.
Yes, yes, that is for a 4 years degree.
Yes.
First year certificate. Once he drops a certificate, he will get a second year, he will get a diploma. Third year, he will get a degree. Finally, whole degree, he will get it, madam.
Yes,
4
sir.
years.
So here my question is, because of there's multiple entry and exit system.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, how can we make the students to stick to the campus or stick to the curriculum, or how best we can do to make
No,
the
it all
students
depends
benefited?
upon the students' interest, madam.
Yeah.
Because if it is his personal economy, his family economy, parents are encouraging, he will continue 4 years. Suppose he got some interested job in the middle, he may drop and later he may continue the course.
Okay.
That will be there for students. Because of family background, family economically sound, no problem. If economically unsound, he can drop, he can go for employment, and on online or on a private way or a DD, the distance education, directed distance education, he can attempt the same course, he can complete it later. This way, multiple points, multiple levels we introduced the system, because the economy is not an advanced economy. It is a the developing economy only, madam. So that suppose you see the backward classes or SCs or STs, their incomes are low, so that the children, once they got job, they will join, and later they will complete it if they are interested. That is we are going on that line.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Madam.
Sir, there is another one more question, sir, from Subhashis Devnath, sir. And so many teachers are interested.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The question is, sir, so many teachers are interested to teaching, but not in research. In that case, how can we convert a teaching institute to a research institute?
Madam, research is a foundation for quality teaching, madam. Because in research, always he goes for a new literature, a new knowledge, so that he will become a good teacher, and he can attract more students also. Only teaching alone, book reading and teaching is not the quality teaching, madam.
Sir, in that case, how can we convert the teaching institute to a research institute?
So research institute means we are inviting scholars, madam.
Yes.
Scholars for doing PhDs only, we are inviting with the entrance exam, so that the either student or teacher, they can join for PhD. But whereas teaching means a research come teaching will be there always. A teacher should have in the university system, doctorate is a minimum. PhD is a minimum in the university system, or even in autonomy colleges also in future. We are going, doctorate is a top degree, but it is a minimum, so that he can give better teaching. Dimensions of teachings will be differs, that pedagogy will differ from one session to another session. He may not repeat the same thing. Suppose, see, in certain institutions, some teachers, Adam Smith is there in economics, father of economics. Always they are talking of father of economics up to one semester. They may not go to other economists. They know only Adam Smith, so that in different way, they are presenting Adam Smith developments. Once as a researcher, he will go, number of economists are there whose opinions he can impress the student. Student always loves whoever the best teacher is, he is giving knowledge. Always he keeps that teacher's photo in his heart. That is there always. Just yesterday, 2 days back, you have seen President Ramnath Kovind is falling before a teacher's legs. Madam,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
huh?
I seen.
Ramnath Kovind, how he respected his own guru.
Yes.
Huh? That is a protocol. He crashed all protocols because president is the first citizen of this country. A teacher has to fall before president, but the president itself fallen before his guru. That is the respect of our teacher, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How teacher is getting a respect through President of India.
That is
Really?
only possible with the profession of teaching.
Yes, madam. Yes, yes.
That's why it's called as noble profession, sir.
Yes, it's a noble profession, and it is a highly respectable position. Society always respected teachers, not only today, earlier centuries onwards. Centuries onwards, a teacher is respected because, and the another thing is, he has to play the role as a teacher with a good respect. Once he is a smoker, he is a drunkard, student never respect you. Once a teacher is ideal character, he will be respected, madam.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
That is there. We always respect your school, your college, where you studied, your university, wherever you studied. You want to see all those institutions always going up, and also greenery way they have to develop. That every student wishes that his institutions should be always highly developed. That he wants. That is his dream also, very often.
Yes, sir. And sir, another one question from Dr. Nandakumar, sir.
Oh, okay,
And,
Nandakumar. Okay.
Yeah, how about like introduction of vocational courses even at school levels like USA?
Madam, see, I am a student of a Jala Parishad High School. In my younger age, in school level, there is a weaving is there. And by taking a cotton thread we have made. See, in earlier days, I am telling about 1960s. 1960s, at a school level, these things are happened. What they are called as a takili, I think. Taking a thread from cotton, and from thread we made see Navar antam chudandi, this is
Okay.
Navar Neyadamu. These are crafts are there. Drawing is there. Drawing master was there. These are the certain things we added for our the curriculum. Not only drill and physical exercise, those are the part and parcel of our education. But he should get some vocational approach. Some colleges are there. They are showing how to make soap. How to see in agriculture college, for a student, we are giving 1 acre land. You grow paddy in this land. We are giving opportunity for the boy, because tomorrow he is agriculturist, he may be farmer, he may be corporate farmer, like that. So that we are giving 1 acre of land and you try to grow paddy in this one. That is his practical experiment. Once he has grown quality seed and quality grains, we are giving first class. Once he is not growing that 1 acre of land, he will get a low marks. Like that, see, there are so many methods. At least one method he has to learn because of a practicality of the society. Society, practically, student should not be only knowledge oriented, physical oriented also. Physically, he has to learn certain vocational courses so that he can start a industry, or he can go at a corporate level. He can understand what is the reality at a field level. Practicality is needed, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very rightly said. And
madam.
sir,
I
I think
any more?
Yeah, no more questions, sir. But ఒకసారి నేను faculties request చేస్తాను, sir. Faculty
Okay.
members, if you have any more queries, you can unmute your mic and you can have a straight away interaction with sir. So if there is no more questions, I will just go for a further. So I'm just giving
Okay.
you 2 minutes of a time, sir, for faculty
Okay,
members
madam. Okay,
for the
okay,
questionnaire.
madam. Okay.
Any faculty members, if you have a query, please post in the chat box or you can unmute your mic. Sir,
Questioning.
sir, there is a question. Sir, there is a question. Media from Pranavesh Sikdar, sir. Sir, media is also becoming a part of life where
Yes, sir.
where parents and teachers fail to incorporate morals
Madam,
in their
madam,
students.
already I said
Yeah.
we are very grateful to COVID-19. Because of COVID-19, we went for online system now.
Yes, sir.
This is media.
Yeah.
Media way. Now we are going. Online system. Now in European countries, online universities are there. This MOOCO, what I inform you, MOOCO system is there. Open online system, madam.
Yes, sir.
Mass online system is going on in European and developed countries. So technology we are using very fairly. And another one also, artificial intelligence, robots. Robots also now entered. That robot system in Bangalore already 1 or 2 institutions introduced robots which are teaching for students.
Yes.
Today, see the things. Already it is a population explosion country, but see certain institutions, they want to go for innovative way of introduced robots are teaching to students. And there are also questions and answers are there. Robots are answering questions and answers. Not only monologue. This is happening in that institution. So these latest robots we are calling as a 4th industrial revolution. Industrial revolution. See, robots are using more in Japan also because their population is very low. In industrial development, they are using robots to run the heavy products. Moving from one place to another place, robots are doing excellent work in that country. Madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So media is become a part of our life, madam, today. In
Yes,
education system, today we are going on a virtual. This is a webinar, is a media itself we are using.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And internet and these mobile phones, they changed our lifestyles. Earlier, to get information to our relative, distant man, we have to sit long hours in a telephone booth in a post office.
Yeah. Sir, another point, whether implementation of robots, do you support it? So the same question has been posed by Pranavesh, sir. So do you support the implementation of robots in teaching?
Yeah, yes. We introduced it already, madam.
Okay,
in Bangalore, certain institutions, they introduced robots are teaching. Because we have to give mechanically support for them so that robots are entering into our life. Even in our kitchen, it is cleaning and keeping ready for cooking. In America, they introduced robots in the kitchen also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Things are, see, very fastly changing the society, madam, now.
Yes.
This technology brought wonders for us. See your CC cameras are catching the people, robbers and whatever things are happening.
Yes.
Once you got a CC camera in your home, nobody will enter into your house.
Yes.
These are the technological advancements, madam.
Yes. So, and this technological advancement also is being a threat to humanity actually. So maybe in
Yes.
near future we may see the existence of a human being or a humans.
See, madam,
It's a question mark again.
we are always respecting human rights, madam.
Yes. Yes.
Human being life, we have to protect and promote it carefully. And dignity is to be maintained. Human dignity, whatever the person may be, we have to give respect for the human beings. Animals also. We are not only human beings, animals also we are respecting. Because without birds and animals, we can't live a longer period on this earth. Plantation, Panchabhutas, what we call Panchabhutas, are to be protected. Water, sky, everything. We have to protect it for living a human being happily on this earth. That is necessary for us. So the everybody, we have to protect ourselves, society, nation also, madam. What BJP is calling Akhanda Bharat. We have to, Pakistan, Bangladesh, half of Afghanistan is Bharat only, they are telling. We have to get our own Akhanda Bharat. And also one nation, one ration card, one tax. We are talking today to make unification of India. We should not go division of India. We want one India only. So that whatever the differences are there, we have to merge them and make India as one. So that one India, one GST, one market, like that we are talking. BJP is bringing a revolutionary concept for making one India. Of course, these regional parties may not accept because they had their own power. They want to rule their dynasties. But now in a democratic way, we want one country, one nation, one market, one tax, with different universities concepts we may have. So the development should be always go equally to all people with a social justice. Social justice, all castes are to be, have to get a justice. Then only a country can be united. So education has to bring that unification, homogeneity we want, not a heterogeneity in the society. Okay,
Yes.
madam?
Sir, another okay question on this, sir. Last question I'll be taking.
Okay, last question. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The question is, unemployment is the major problem in our country.
Yes.
In these circumstances, introduction of robot is preferable or not?
No, actually, when more unemployment is there, we are not, even Gandhi also said, for Indians, when population is more, we want employment of manual employment and not mechanized employment. Once the machines comes, they will remove the laborers. Today, the same thing is happening. Many of the technologies are removing the human labor. In agriculture, you take it now, e-cropping, tractorization, and many of the drones have come now. The latest way, drones are spraying the pesticide, seeds, water, all the things are, they are doing many works, drones, so that automatically unemployment will rise. But one thing we have to do, every person should be made technological oriented person, so that he can create entrepreneurially in his own way. And we have to give guidelines for them. Value-based way you go. Don't do cheating, robbery, theft, all these things. We are against for society. In China, just I will give you example. In China, any robbery or thefts are there. They are hanging in the crossroads, calling the people and hanging him in the middle of the road. That is happening in China, so that they stopped all crimes. Once you are started hanging the people at public places, see, Chinese are fearing about doing any crime. So the criminal records are to be stopped. But employment entrepreneurially, we have to make every person so that that man can generate his own incomes, and also he can create employment to others. There are so many subjects are there in business management, how we can create employment, entrepreneurial way. But be honesty, be ethical, be always doing service to society. That way, once we are going, he will be always respected by society. Unemployment will be there. See, we are talking about a seasonal unemployment. Suppose ice creams are making in summer, in winter nobody will eat ice cream. A certain seasonal level, madam. Some employments, some type of a entrepreneurial jobs. Seasonally, it has a. Suppose today you see the many hotels are closed because of a seasonal problem, curfew problem. States imposed curfews, so that many people are suffering. Migrant laborers we have seen earlier, they walked thousands of miles. Nobody has given a care. Once a center has entered, then governments have given a food and train facilities for going to their homes. So this type of a sudden things are happening. At that time, he should have a courage to face the problem also. Unemployment is there, but we have to reduce the unemployment, creating potentiality. But we should not give free money for them. Free money is always a threatening for his future. So we have to create employment by development process. So employment creates its own income levels and also employment days. So that we introduced National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. We introduced all over India to get farm laborers income, 300 rupees per day, like that, for creating some jobs for them. Like that, urban unemployment also we are giving certain jobs for them. So unemployment, before that, three things we have to take seriously, madam. One is population, we have to reduce. Pollution, poverty. There is three P's are threatening our nation, so that we have to control it very carefully, so that the future will be bright for the coming generations in this world. Madam.
Yes, sir. Wonderful, sir. Wonderful.
Okay.
And thank you so much for delivering your insights in nation education policy, and also addressing all the questions posed by all our faculty members, sir. Okay, so nice of you, sir. And just in this moment, I request our principal, sir, just to do a live felicitation to you, sir. Because
no, I don't want. No, no, don't worry.
Please accept. Please accept. Please accept, sir.
No.
Please accept, sir. Sir, you're on mute, sir. Unmute. Sir, unmute chain, sir. Sir, kindly accept, sir, please. Sir, kindly unmute, sir. Mic mute, sir. Sir, please accept our certificate of appreciation and
no certificate on this. Madam. We don't want anything. We are excess of all those things.
Sir, kindly accept it, sir, because it's an honor to invite, and also it's a responsibility for us.
Pada.
ఓకే మీ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ కు పెట్టుబడి చేయి
Faculty members are requested to stay in the meeting for the second session of this today's AICTE program. And today there is a small change in the schedule actually. So the scheduled speaker is Dr. Ishwar Kumar sir from Andhra University. But due to some government assignments and other professional assignments, sir have just postponed the program to tomorrow afternoon. So in the place of that, we just replaced the another speaker, that is Dr. J. Shrikant sir from SRM. So please, I request everybody to stay in the meeting, and we'll be just starting the session after a 10-minute break. So we'll be just sharp at 11 a.m. with the session by Dr. J. Shrikant sir from SRM University. So kindly give your immense support in this regard. Thank you so very much. Deepak sir, can you hear my voice? Deepak sir, kindly unmute, sir.
Madam, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Yeah, sir. Namaste. Good morning, sir. Sir, you are in mute.
Yes, madam. Good morning, madam. Namaste.
Good morning. Good morning. Namaste. எப்படி இருக்கீங்க sir?
நல்லா இருக்கேன் madam. நல்லா இருக்கேன். So I just had a class. Sorry for the delay. No worries.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Vanakkam, good morning.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome to STTP program.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, nice to listen from you.
Oh, thank you
Next
so much.
session will be a wonderful one.
Okay, sir.
So morning we had new education policy talk. Now you are going to add in that.
Okay,
So
sir.
Srikanth Garu, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Sucharita madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving a wonderful welcome, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, we have a 3 more minutes time, sir. So just we'll be just commencing the session sharp at 11 a.m. That's the scheduled time for the session. So we'll be starting by 11 a.m., sir.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Very good morning to all the respected faculty members and from the management and principal, sir, Dr. Niranjan Babu, sir. So I just welcome you, an immense pleasure to have you, sir. And also I just invite you for this ESTTP program. And today we have a second session, and as sir quoted, the first session is on national education policy, which was completed just 5 minutes ago. And then now we are into the second session. The session is being headed by Dr. J. Srikanth, sir. Sir is an assistant professor and assistant dean for students in Sri Ramachandra Faculty of Pharmacy, Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education Research, Porur. And sir, welcome you, sir. And to give the honor, the interaction and the achievements of sir to the faculty members, I request my dear colleague Deepak Sairam, sir, to do the lead. And Deepak, sir, it's over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. You can continue.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So, good morning to one and all. So, hope all of you had your breakfast. And myself, this is Deepak Sairam, currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Pharmaceutical Analysis in Seven Hills College of Pharmacy. So today, I'm glad to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. J. Srikanth, sir. Sir, a very good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So coming to the introduction of Dr. J. Srikanth, sir. Sir is currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Pharmacology at Sri Ramakrishna Faculty of Pharmacy, and assistant dean of students for 3 constituent colleges at Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education and Research since 2009. Sir has completely and successfully completed his PhD work in the year 2018 and has been awarded Career Award for Young Teachers from AICTE in the year 2015. Sir has also been awarded ICLAS Kailash Scholarship from Chinese Association of Laboratory Animal Sciences in the year 2019. And Sir has been awarded Growth and Advancement Towards Excellence in the year 2013 and 2017 Research Grant for Young Faculty from Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education and Research. Sir has also been awarded Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Young Scientist Award from All India Press and Medical Council in the year 2016. Sir has visited 3 countries. So Johns Hopkins University, USA in the year 2012, and United Arab Emirates in the year 2016, and Kunming, China in the year 2019 to present his research findings. Sir is a life member of several governing bodies like Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers in India, APTI, and Society for Neurochemistry and Laboratory Animal Scientist Association of India. Sir is a person who is continuously working on alteration to animal experimentation like molecular docking and has developed zebrafish and brine shrimp models to his credit. Sir has been recognized as a research supervisor for PhD program at Sri Ramchandra Institute of Higher Education and Research. Sir has 25 research publications in reputed peer-indexed journals to his credit. Apart from the curriculum and research activities, Sir has also taken community services through National Service Scheme as NSS officer of the university. So I hereby conclude this and thank you, Principal Sir and all the faculty members for giving me this opportunity. And Sucharita ma'am, it's over to you.
Thank you, Deepak sir. Always you made the intro very nice. And thank you so much, sir. I think it's a good intro by Deepak sir to the good person, Dr. Srikanth sir. Sir, I welcome you and time to take over the session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sucharita ma'am.
Kindly share your presentation, sir.
Yes, madam, please. I thank the principal of Seven Hills College of Pharmacy, Dr. Niranjan sir, and Dr. Sucharita madam, who is coordinating this particular activities from the day 1 of this particular program initiation. So, and also Deepak sir for that wonderful intro about myself. So I'm just a budding young scientist like all of you who is in thirst for knowledge and seeking that any scientist will provoke us the thought process of exactly how things are to be done. So I am also in a learning process like you, but still I'm just trying to share my expertise, what I have learned through my 11 years of teaching experience, both as a teacher as well as a researcher, as well as now a scientist. So in the field of molecular biology, so they thought me I would be a appropriate person to just give a demo. So when Sucharita madam was insisting me, so she was very clear, sir, the participants would be very, very tired of listening to a very lengthy lectures by various experts and scientists. But we need person like you to give us a demo and exposure of certain softwares which are very simple and easily available in open source, as open source licensed. So which is like Druli2, which is developed by Naiper Mohali, and test software, which is US Environmental Agency Protection Act, and Autodoc and Molgro, and how that particular process is just correlated to this particular topic of molecular neuroscience, and that in silico pharmacological and toxicological evaluation, because that is my area of research where the neuropharmacology is my expertise. Okay, so with that introduction, and without wasting much of your time, I assure you that this 49 or 50 participants will be happy at the end of my 1.5 hour session. Okay, madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much. And for your kind information, sir, all the participants are faculty members only, sir. Here there is no.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
So all the faculties, and mostly we have a professors and assistant professors too, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Kindly, yeah, kindly take your time for presentation. Thank you so much.
So I'm sharing my entire screen because I'll be toggling between the presentations so that the entire screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir. It is in screen share mode, and you can continue.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Just please. So my topic for today's presentation is I made it like in silico pharmacological and toxicological tools in molecular neuroscience. Okay. So myself, Dr. J. Srikanth, who has completed my UG and PG, affiliated to the Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University, Chennai, and I've completed my PhD getting the Career Award for Young Teacher from the AICTE in the last tenure in which it was introduced in 2015. So I was one of the last set of batch who have got this award to complete my PhD. And I have developed my knowledge in this particular in silico area because I was very confined to research without using the animals, how alternative to animal experimentations can be performed. And I have developed my own portfolio of how this in silico research can be exactly correlated with the in vitro and in vivo studies. So I'm here to share my knowledge to all my fellow members and colleagues. So basically, I just throw a highlight of these three peoples in whichever presentations I'm just trying to give, because these three peoples have made enormous effort for which they have won the Nobel Prize in 2015 for the discovery in medicine. Okay, and especially the madam Chu Yu. So she is just a B.Pharm graduate, and I hope many of our pharmacy fraternity would be remembering when she exploded the newspapers in 2015 for a discovery as artemisinin as an anti-malarial drug, which was done in the 1970s. Okay, and these two persons have made enormous effect in discovering this anti-protozoal drug. So the ivermectin, and which was later side chain modified and converted into ivermectin for treatment of different types of protozoal infections, including different types of worms. Okay, so their thought process was also similar to the drug discovery process. So all of us are involved in one way or the other, either in the drug discovery or the drug development. Okay, so the concept here is what these role models have tried to put forward. Okay, so this particular target would be the Nobel Prize winners who have done it in 2015. Okay, so they have divided the equal share into one half, which is jointly governed by William C. Campbell and Satoshi Omura. So they are the two scientists who have discovered this novel therapy against infections which are caused by roundworm parasites. The other half is shared, the one by 50% is shared by Tu Yu, for which she has made a discovery on a novel therapy against malaria. So this was a great achievement and enlightening process to many of the pharmacists in and around the world. And in order to take this consideration, the exact process of this drug discovery stimulated many persons in the field of pharmacy and pharmacology and medicinal chemistry. So where they were trying to elucidate these kind of compounds. And obviously, if you find these scientists were being recognized after 30 years of their research or the discoveries. Okay, so this particular lady, Tu madam, is very, very interesting because she has discovered this particular artemisinin compound from derivative from Artemisia annua during a B Farm final years of study, and her continuous research has made her to the head of the Chinese traditional medicines of herbal medicines category. Okay, so this is very interesting to see how a plant-based medicine in an era of allopathic drug discovery is trying to make an impact at the global level for a Nobel Prize laureate. So that through exactly the highlight, and from a target-based drug discovery. So we were enlightened about those. We know the target, we have the drug, and with these two, we can just do miracles. If that is the case, almost 100% of the disease or disorder must have been cured. But that's not the case. After this particular 30 years, so from the stage where Tu discovered artemisinin derivative and the discovery or a phase of target-based drug discovery, so we were not able to identify a potential candidate for a potential treatment. Even the statin, which was discovered in the late 1980s, in 2014, you have seen it has been withdrawn from the market for rhabdomyolysis. European Union and other countries have banned it. So have we given our generations like statins induce diabetes? And it's all in the gene causing the Indian population to be the leading world diabetic population. So what exactly is the need of the hour is basically is the scientist's motive to understand it. Okay, so this particular discovery was made in 1972. If you wonder, in 2015, Nobel Prize was given to the scientist, madam. Okay, and then William Campbell and Omora. Okay, so from the Streptomyces species, they were able to identify the ivermectin, by which a later side chain modifications they were able to synthesize this particular target, which is including the treatment for liver blindness and lymphatic filariasis. And this was made in 1975, and again it came into use in 1981. So these kind of drugs, which are still available in the market, will provoke the research attitude in pharmacists and other medicinal chemists and pharmacologists. So coming to the approach. So what is the approach? To my knowledge, I have discovered in a drug discovery process is the classical pharmacological approach and the reverse pharmacological approach. Okay, so if you exactly know what is going to be the target or the starting point of your research, so you need to exactly underlie and see the mechanism from where you're going to start. So this compound first approach is based on the phenotypic drug discovery. So this is the historical basis of drug discovery, which you and Omora has and others have followed, taking into consideration the traditional value or the systems that is present around them. Okay, but the reverse pharmacological approach, the mechanism based approach, so this is trying to be designated as the target based drug discovery. So as a pharmacologist, I would be asking my students, what are the targets for your drugs in the body to act? So obviously it's going to be 80% is going to be the 4 targets apart from the chemotherapeutic drugs and directly acting drugs. Though, so are going to be the enzymes, receptors, transporters, ion channels. So the process which we feed into the young generation is that for a drug to produce an action, it should be acting on any one of these 4 targets. Okay, so that is how this mechanistical based approach have developed in this recent era, and most of the R&D industries which are trying to develop this particular pharmaceutical companies are trying to produce more drugs in which they were not successful as such we have seen in the compound first approach. Okay, and coming to the major fight that is occurring between the phenotypic drug discovery and the target based drug discovery, we see that the phenotype drug discovery does not rely on the knowledge of the identity of the specific drug target. They don't know exactly where this particular drug, that is a compound that they are going to identify, is going to act. Okay, but they are sure the activity is going to be there. Okay, because of the hypothesis, what it has been put forth in the traditional systems or in the books, the exact medicinal chemistry of the molecule, the disease part would be there, but the molecular or the target would not be there. So that is what is the approach that is made by the phenotypic drug discovery. In contrast, we have the target-based strategies. So these target-based strategies is what we call it as the receptors, enzymes, receptors, enzymes, transporters, and ion channels, which have been widely used in the pharmaceutical industry for the past 3 decades. So still industries were unable to find these kind of potential candidates, what was just discovered by the phenotypic drug discovery. So what exactly this target-based drug discovery is seen as a starting point. So you try to define a molecular target and you try to hypothesize it that this particular target is having some role in this particular disease. Instead of taking the compound and taking an hypothesis, you are taking a target and stating the hypothesis. Then we are trying to find a drug to the target. Okay, and it has been a dominant approach to drug discovery in the pharmaceutical industry, which is driven by advances in molecular biology, molecular neuroscience, and pharmacogenomics and other parts, like all those concepts are trying to omics. So omics is nothing but the bioinformatics, chemoinformatics, pharmacoinformatics, all those things which are computerized and the data is available. So they are trying to govern the mathematical data statistically, and they are trying to prove that this target-based approach is trying to be the evidence, as we are trying to prove through the Ayush ministry, which our Ministry of Ayush is stating that Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy is going to be the complete prevention is better than cure slogan, is going to be the future of this particular treatment, where which we are going to prevent the disease or disorder arising in our body. Prevention is better than cure. So that is what the Ayush ministry is exactly telling us. But we insist to try to research ourselves in search of different types of this target-based drug discovery. Coming to the phenotype drug discovery, so here it's typically engaging a molecular target. However, the prior knowledge of the target is not essential. So you know the activity, you are trying to find or evaluate the activity by a systematic pharmacological evaluation methods. So this particular phenotypic drug discovery, you see a physiologically relevant molecule is trying to act on the biological system or trying to act on the cell signaling molecules, which is trying to produce a chemical matter of biologically active compound. Okay, and this target agnostic approach, so this is what is opposite to that of the thing, is trying to underlie the attributes that differentiates the PDD from the hypothesis driven TDD. So where we stand exactly is the question that is put forth in front of us. And coming to the neuroscience and neurodegenerative disorders, so the degeneration and the regeneration of the various tissues, cells, or organs that is being trying to produce in our body is the one which is trying to cause due to the aging factors. So these are the disease which are trying to produce when the regeneration process is trying to be suppressed by the degeneration process. So the catabolism, metabolism, the anabolism and the catabolism is trying to have an unequality. And we have this particular development of neurodegenerations trying to more. And if it is going to be taking place, especially in the neurons, we are going to call it as the neurodegeneration. So previously we were trying to be identifying the targets for two major neurodegenerative disorders like the Alzheimer's disease, and then we had the Parkinson's disease. So we know exactly acetylcholine is the one which is going to be depleted in the Alzheimer's disease in the brain, and Parkinson's disease, it's going to be the depletions of the dopamines or the dopamine receptors in the brain. So, but what type of aggregations is involved? So here, if you see in Alzheimer's disease, it's going to be the neurotic plaques, neurofibrillary tangles, okay, and beta amyloid proteins. So there you have the cellular localization which is trying to take place either extracellularly in the brain or intracellularly. There, the factors involved are beta amyloid peptides. So there are various fragments. So 25, 35, 140, 142, many beta amyloid fragments are there, and hyperphosphorylated tau proteins. And the brain region that is affected is going to be the cortex, hippocampus, the basal forebrain, and the brainstem. And coming to the Parkinson's disease, we have the type of fabrications that is going to be delivered as the Lewy body, and it's going to be an intracellular cytoplasm cellular localization. And the factors influenced is the alpha synuclein, and this is going to be affecting mainly the one of the three pathways. So we have the substantia nigra pathways and the mesolimbic pathways and other pathways of the dopaminergic neurons trying to connect our central nervous system with the autonomic nervous system, trying to regulate the smooth muscles with the skeletal muscles activity. So there we have the substantia nigra pathway is affected. We have the cortex, we have locus coeruleus, we have the rapid dopaminergic neurons are going to be the affected in the brain region in Parkinson's disease. So apart from that, we also have this Huntington's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and prion disease, which are also trying to produce the major type of neurodegenerative disorder. So obviously, neuroscience is the one which is trying to connect the neuronals and its pathway. But when it comes to the pharmacy, so we are very much worried about this particular type of neurodegenerative disorders in which a neuroscience part is playing a major role in us. And if we really see what is the class of drugs that has been discovered so far in treatment of Alzheimer's disease, is only one class. So it's very really astonishing to see the acetylcholinesterase inhibitors. So the enzyme which is trying to produce more amount of the acetylcholine levels in the brain, especially in the brain and not in the peripheral tissues, is the one are the targets. And if we have seen the donepezil, galantamine, memantine, rivastigmine, all the targets which are available and being approved by the FDA at various stages like 1996, 2001, 2003, 2000 and 2014, the combinations from moderate to severe where combined drug treatment are available. Recently in 2021, since I was working in this particular field of dementia, stress-induced dementia and other things, I just found out this particular FDA approved a monoclonal antibody, so MAB, so aducanumab, for treating the Alzheimer's patient. So it is trying to exactly identify an antigen in our body, which are trying to be directed by the beta amyloid protein, and there this particular action is going to bind. Okay, so just have a hint. So whatever the target I am going to speak is what I am going to show in the upcoming slide. So the target, what I mentioned here, is going to be the beta amyloid proteins, and the target, another target is going to be the acetylcholinesterase. So apart from acetylcholinesterase, there are also BACE1 and other types of inhibitors which have been postulated as a hypothesis as targets for Alzheimer's disease treatment, and even butyrylcholinesterase or pseudoesterase of this acetylcholine has been a target for treatment of Alzheimer's disease. Since various targets have been postulated, still we are unable to find an exact thing as a mechanism based approach for treatment of Alzheimer's disease. And huperzine A, according to the traditional claim of Chinese and Indian medicinal systems, were trying to elevate the learning and memory process, but still it has not been approved as a pharmaceuticals, whereas nutraceuticals, it has been in use for learning and memory process. Okay, so this is what exactly the Alzheimer's disease and the drugs which are being used in the treatment of Alzheimer's are being postulated so far. Now coming to the concept or scheme in which the evaluation process of drug discovery is taking place in our preclinical research. So this thing is what exactly the postulation, what I feel is the preclinical research before the clinical research, where the testing of drugs in animals is being categorized into two forms. So we have the pharmacological evaluation, where we exactly try to find out the different types of approaches of pharmacological parameters. So where exactly the drug is going to act, what is the activity oriented drug, and then we have the toxicological evaluation, okay, where we are going to estimate the toxicity of those particular drugs. So again, in this particular pharmacological approach, we have different types like in silico approach, in vitro approach, in vivo approach. And then in toxicological evaluation, we have in silico approach, in vitro approach, in vivo approach. Obviously, we have other technologies that is governing. So in ex vivo, in situ, but obviously they are trying to be in one way or the other is going to be incorporated in any one of these particular things. Now coming to the in silico approach, so as I prefer, if a drug is having a pharmacological activity, so we would try to determine the pharmacodynamics and the pharmacokinetics parameter. So before the drug is being administered into the patient, these particular parameters also need to be evaluated. So I've just put the in silico pharmacodynamics can be evaluated using computer models like molecular docking studies. At the same time, the in silico pharmacokinetics can be evaluated where the absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, the deposition of the drug targets in various tissues can be evaluated by the ADME prediction software tools. And coming to this in vitro, obviously we might be knowing about the various type of cell line studies for various types of neurotoxicological evaluations like glutamate induced neurotoxicity, beta amyloid neuronal cells, and trying to see in the cell line whether your drug is trying to potentiate or decrease the activity of expressions of beta amyloid proteins or tau proteins, and those kind of learning and memory can be evaluated with the biomarkers that has been developed in the particular cell line studies. And coming to the in vivo, so we have various models for neuro degenerations and regenerations. So we have the three models like genetically modified, where we have the gene knock-in or gene knockout, which is trying to express the particular biomarkers which is responsible for producing that particular disease, that is gene knock-in or gene knockout. And then we have behavioral models for neuro actions, like where stereotype behaviors and animal resemblance models where mice are trying to produce more psychiatrics like behaviors when they are produced to the teotoxic effect, or all those effects are present directly in the animals. So those are the behavioral models that is correlating directly to the animal study. And then we have the pharmacologically induced model. So where through the ICV injections or the stereotoxic instrument, we try to inject the beta amyloid proteins directly into the intracerebroventricular injections of the mice, and then we try to elucidate the learning memory process by the in vivo pharmacological evaluation, and that is how the in vivo pharmacological evaluation is performed. So there we try to find out where our particular target is going to act, and whether that particular target where our drug is acting is elucidate or going to perform a biological function, pharmacological activity. First biological function and then the pharmacological activity. And then coming to the toxicological evaluation, we have the in silico part. So again, we have the various toxicity estimations can be done or evaluated using in silico models, because the chemical structure of our particular drug, what we are trying to give, can be put in a database of already existing chemical data, and we have the various type of toxicity assays where oral rat LD50 value can be calculated, the Daphne magna LD50 value can be calculated, Ames mutagenicity performance can be performed in computer models, teratogenicity effects can be performed using computer models, and even the mutagenicity. So all those parameters, whether your particular compound is having mutagenicity, teratogenicity, carcinogenicity, oral LD50 value, oral mice LD50 value, Daphne magna, zebrafish, fathead menu, all those can be calculated using in silico models. There, the specific software, toxicity estimation software tool and other softwares are also available, where using the 3D QSAR methodologies approach, these particular models are being evaluated. So as a pharmacologist, who am I to speak about a pharmaceutical chemistry concept? Okay, because in silico is all about the chemistry. It's about, they exactly speak like I am a medicinal chemist. I know the structural compound and what are the activities if the structural activity relationship is going to be changed. Okay, believe me, when I started my molecular docking studies in 2010, and when I completed my PG project, I really don't have any idea about this molecular docking. Now I'm trying to put the entire thing, what I've studied from A to Z in this particular lecture, because the concept here is when you need to find the exact target where you want your drug to bind or a chemical structure synthesized to act, you need an expert of a pharmacologist, expertise of a pharmacologist. And then if you want to identify whether the drug is bound, obviously the pharmacologist role is there. Okay, so it's a dual role. It's like a synergistic effect between a pharmaceutical chemist and a pharmacologist put together. So that is what exactly this particular in silico tools are trying to develop. But I feel it's not only the in silico tools of pharmaceutical chemists and pharmacologists. We are just from the other side, okay, just trying to evaluate or get an output of the software that is being developed. But when you look at the concept of how these softwares are developed, that will be very, very interesting to make a point of it. Okay, so that is what we are going to see in today's lecture, how this in silico tools and the principles of this in silico tools in molecular science, especially in the drug discovery process of neurodegenerative disorders, especially the Alzheimer's, is going to play a key role. Okay, and then we have the in vitro cell line toxicity studies, brain shrimp lethality assays, so which I have developed in my lab as an alternative to animal models, where I was able to strictly identify the LD50 value using the GraphPad Prism software. So it was very, very interesting to see that hatching of the brine shrimp from that particular egg for a 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours period, and to easily count using a microscope and other things was very, very interesting really. And these experiments can be really done in our lab. Okay, and in vivo, obviously we have the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, so which is trying to put all the guidelines. So there we have the different types of guidelines of OECDs, like starting from 401 to 496, where we, depending upon the different route of drug administrations like oral, dermal, inhalation, so we have a standard protocol how to test all our chemicals. Okay, so there, that is again governed by the CPCSCA, Committee for the Purpose of Control and Supervision of Experiment on Animals. And then we have our institutional level, Institutional Animal Ethics Committee coming into play. Okay, so this is the role of the CPCSCA nominee to see whether the animals are being used for experimental purpose according to the 3R guidelines: reduce, refine, or replace. Okay, so this concept of this reduce, refine, or replace has made me to look into alternative tools, and you really find wonders in this particular field. So now I'm here to exactly tell how this particular concept of this evaluations in animal models are going into computer in a particular laptop or system or software. We are able to perform. We are able to predict without doing in oral rat LD50 value. I am trying to predict. Okay, sir, this is might be your predicted value. This might be your experimental value. How come? So that is what we are going to see, and that is how where these protein targets and the molecular structure of chemistry. As a chemist, you need to know exactly how these proteins, where the target-based drug discovery, and the ligands, where the different sources of drugs, where the compound-based drug discovery are trying to produce or gain entry into the softwares or the system. Okay. So here the protein, so the targets for drug action in target-based drug discovery. So we have enzymes, so we have the COX1 inhibitor, COX2 inhibitors, and other types of things, and receptors. So obviously we might be knowing the different types of receptors, starting from ligand-gated ion channel receptors, G protein coupled receptors, enzymes or kinase linked receptors, and nuclear receptors. So we have the different types of receptors which are trying to form the targets of the neurotransmitter actions, like acetylcholine receptors, agonists, antagonists, beta blockers, beta agonists. So all those antagonists or agonists are going to be the receptor targets. And coming to the transporters. So in this case, if you clearly see, enzymes are proteins, but all proteins are not enzymes. Receptors are proteins, but all proteins are not receptors. So obviously, these four are being made up of proteins. So proteins are macromolecules. So macromolecularly, they are present in our body. So they are structurally synthesized with the help of amino acids. So amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. When you come to the primary structure, the secondary structure, the tertiary structure, and the quaternary structure, the primary structure is going to exactly see what is the sequence of the protein, how the amino acids are built up, how many chains it is made up of. The secondary structure is going to align the different chains. Either it's going to be a dimer, trimer, tetramer, pentamer, hexamer, octamer, how many chain sequence. And then we have the tertiary structure, where how the helical rings, windings, spindlings, and all those are going to take place in the protein. And finally, the quaternary structures. The interaction sites of these particular things, how it is going to come into a live. That is what the quaternary structure. So if you see to the molecular level, all these structure of proteins are going to be the components of amino acids. And if you see, they are categorized as simple amino acids, aromatic amino acids, sulfur containing amino acids. All these amino acids, if you just check it out, they have only the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen. Okay, so these molecules are going to be components of the chemistry part. So this is where, as a layman, I try to find out, this is how these molecules are trying to gain entry into our software. Okay, and this would be very interesting to see, depending upon the chemical nature of these amino acids, whether they are negatively charged, whether they are positively charged, whether they have polar compound or uncharged polar, charged polar, non-polar, and depending upon their chemical interactions and the mediators, we were able to hypothesize whether they have the potential to develop the cavity, they have a binding site, whether they have a potential to take up my chemical molecule, that is a ligand or a drug. So that is what we see, the hydrophilic and hydrophobic interactions of the amino acids. And if you see any lipid bilayer like a protein, enzymes, transporters, or ion channels, so it's going to be both the hydrophobic end is going to be the back and the hydrophilic end is going to be the middle. Okay, so we can also term it as lipophilic or lipophobic, the opposite of that. If it is going to be hydrophilic, it's going to be lipophobic, and hydrophobic is going to be lipophilic. So that is how the components of all this chemistry parts coming into play. And then coming to the ligand. So now the protein is gaining entry into the software. How the ligand is trying to gain entry into our software. So we have the different sources from which the drugs are being identified as drug candidates. So in that, we see the drugs are obtained from plant source, where we have the gold standard cardiac glycosides, digoxin, atropine, morphine, opioid analgesics, artemisinin. So Q, so who has helped in the discovery and who have won a Nobel Prize, quinine. Okay, so these are obtained from a plant source and they have a chemical structure. And coming to the animal source, we have insulin. So when the things which are going to be obtained from animals are going to be the proteins again. Okay, so they are not going to be a chemical structure just like digoxin or atropine, where we are going to just draw it using a chemistry spot and just try to convert it into mole or SDS format and try to get it in the laptop. But when you take insulin, pepsin, heparin, or thyroid hormones, they are going to be again the amino acids. Insulin is made up of 51 amino acids, A chain, B chain, 20, 31, and they have the disulfide bonds. So how this protein is also considered as a ligand and how that can be taken into consideration. So this is the place where this monoclonal antibodies are coming into play. Monoclonal antibodies are developed by rDNA technology, and I have gone through the article that the future of pharmaceutical industry is going to be biosimilars, which are the monoclonal antibodies which are got through the rDNA technology, and they are going to be the billion-dollar business in the upcoming era. So Biocon is already into it. Insulin protections through alternative methods. So they are getting insulin through bioreactors using monoclonal antibodies, and these biosimilars are very cost effective. So that is how the alternative methods or sources for other reduction, refinement, replacement, which is the insulin which is got from the swine or other animals are being killed for human build-up is just stopped. And that is what the beauty of this particular reduction, refinement, replacement is speaking on. And coming to minerals, obviously these are going to be the targets which are going to act directly. So it's going not coming to be under the target-based drug discovery. So aluminum hydroxide, ferrous sulfate, zinc oxide as emetinics. And also we have the synthetic and semi-synthetic like morphine sulfate, atropine sulfate, the combination of this natural source versus the plant where you're trying to add the salts and trying to make it like a semi-synthetic. And obviously the microbiological source. So penicillins, beta-lactam antibiotics, macrolide antibiotics, aminoglycoside antibiotics. So all those sources which are used as a chemotherapy, and here the target is not going to be present in the humans, whereas the target is going to be present in the specific bacteria, the specific virus, the specific fungus. Okay, so those are the things, and we have targets of that particular bacteria or fungus or any other microorganisms can also be taken into the structure depending upon the protein, how we also have the targets. So we have the bacteria targets, we have the fungus targets, we have the virus targets. So that is how COVID-19 drugs are being developed using this target-based drug discovery. And finally, we have the recombinant DNA technology, where the biosimilars is going to be the future of pharmaceutical industry. And this is how finally concluded, whatever the structure of this protein, including the amino acids, or whatever the structure of this ligand, including insulin. So we are just going to incorporate it into the periodic elements table. And we know exactly what is the molecular property, what is the everything about this particular periodic table. So this is where the chemical properties of the individual compound is taken into consideration when it is trying to form or bind with the other adjacent molecules and trying to produce a built up molecule of protein or a built up molecule of a ligand. So everything ends here. That is what the importance of pharmaceutical chemistry is all about. Okay, and then we have the principles of docking. So in silico pharmacological evaluation. So how it is done? So obviously everybody might be having this supercomputers, so which we call it as the smartphones in your hand. So you might be having this GPS tracker. And have you ever thought the process of once you enable the GPS and order something in Swiggy or Zomato, the food reaches you. Okay, and then we see whenever you want to book a Ola cab or Uber, automatically you do the booking, they come to your working place or to your home. Have you ever wondered what is the process that is taking place? So this is actually the statistics that which we are played using our supercomputers. So if you see exactly what is the principle of this global positioning system is what we are trying to apply it into our drug discovery process using in silico tools as docking process to evaluate the protein and the target binding interactions. Once you take the food or once you get into the cab is the end point of this particular simulation process. So how this is happening? So if you take this into consideration, once you switch on the GPS, so you are sending signals to the satellite, the global positioning system of yourself I am presenting here, and how that particular driver or that person is trying to reach you out. This is how, once you switch on this, the GPS will immediately take into consideration the positioning of yours. So first it says you are present in the Earth. You are not present in any other planet. So out of the 9 planets, you are present in Earth. So statistically, it is trying to prepare a grid and state that you are in Earth. But if you are in Earth, exactly which place? Okay, so then it subdivides the things into continents. Okay, so and it approximately says you are in the Asian continent. And then exactly where in Asia? Southeast Asia. So then it comes back, zooms in. And in Southeast Asia, exactly in which country? So India. In India, where exactly? South India, North India? South India. Then in South India, which state? And then in which state, what is the pin code? And in pin code, what is the street? And statistically, to the thing of 95% confidence interval, that particular positioning system says that you might be present in that location. but the cab driver reaches you exactly because you have tried to book that particular place for a longer period of time. So if you have booked 50 times the Ola cab from the same place, the first time the driver might ask you, the second time he might come to that place directly. Have you wondered that? So this is how the global positioning system is trying to strengthen itself, taking into consideration of all the things. But whatever the data the billions of people are giving, it's trying to get it in the cloud. But now how it is correlated to the drug discovery process, how it is correlating to the in silico evaluation methods. So I said, please be very clear. I said it's a grid. The grid is built. The statistics is being applied. Mathematically, it is stating that in a three-dimensional way, you are present in that exact location. Now coming to the concept of applying this principle to our drug discovery process and the drug designing. So everybody would be agreeing with me, the 3D QSAR approach, where the physico-chemical properties of a chemical substance is statistically related to their biological activities. That is what is this particular QSAR is trying to say. So first we started in SAR, structural activity relationship. Then we had this 2D QSAR, where we had the dimension only in the X plane and the Y plane. And then we had the 3D QSAR, where we had the X, Y, and the Z axis, which is trying to prepare the grid in a three-dimensional way. Okay, and this is what is emerging as a natural extension to our classical hands of free wills and approaches, which is trying to develop the three-dimensional properties of the ligands and trying to predict the biological activities using the chemoinformatic techniques. So these chemoinformatic techniques, where if you take computer basics is going to be maths, and in math the statistics is going to form the basics. So in whichever mode or tool you try to designate your software, you try to get a best softwares for your in silico predictability. So there pharmacoinformatics and chemoinformatics are going hand in hand, where even a pharmaceutical chemist and pharmacologist is lacking in that, and there bioinformatics is coming into play. They are trying to identify the protein, they are trying to X-ray crystallograph the protein, and they are trying to deposit it in the protein data bank. All we need to do is make use of that protein, try to develop our ligand, try to have a particular affinity and test it in animal models, and then just try to find the affinity. So this is what an intercollaborated research is the need of the hour, and that is what the society is expecting out of pharmacy fraternity. I mean, I would say the research scientist pharmacy fraternity. And coming to the QSAR, so it obviously, whether it is going to predict exactly or not, it is obviously going to decrease the number of compounds that is going to be synthesized. So that's what, if you try to synthesize a compound of a particular molecule, so you try to put it in an in silico tool and try to develop more ligands, like the ligand preparation tool, and you get thousands of molecules. Screen the thousands of molecules, come to the top 10 and just check what is the feasibility of producing this top 10. So this is how you try to reduce the time frame, you try to put more statistics to your research and try to develop a promising drug candidate. So GPS related to 3D QSAR in your drug discovery process. And as of now, what I've identified is, this is the process in which a particular molecular docking study is being performed. So you select a protein. So this is a target-based approach. You select a protein first, you know the target for which a particular disease you are trying to identify the drug candidate. For example, Alzheimer's disease. In Alzheimer's disease, the basic drug that is available or the target available is the acetylcholine esterase. So, and we are going to use reversible acetylcholine esterase or anticholine esterase as the drug candidate for the treatment of the thing. Okay, so it is an enzyme target. And these enzymes are obviously made up of proteins. And these proteins are deposited in the protein data bank. And next, coming to the ligand. So how you try to identify the ligand? So this, you just randomly want to select any drug candidate, or you just want to synthesize your own target, try to draw it using a ChemSketch software and try to bring it into the software. And then you try to prepare both the ligand and the protein inside the software. And then what you need to identify, depending upon the positioning of the amino acids, you will try to identify the binding site in the protein. So once the binding site is being identified, you prepare a grid. So like in the GPS, how your grid is formed and the zoom in process takes place, the grid is being prepared and you try to move it. Okay, so you are there in the grid, and same like that, the binding site is predicted and the grid is being formed where the ligand can come and bind. And finally, you perform the docking. So there we have the docking part which is coming into play. But coming into the types of docking, there is small molecule docking, which is called as ligand docking. There is a small molecule, large molecule docking, which is ligand protein docking. And last, we have the protein docking, which is a large molecule docking. But most of the things would be falling under this ligand protein docking, where the target is going to be a protein and ligand is going to be a small molecule. So small molecule, large molecule docking is the common type of docking. And the other type of docking apart from this is the rigid docking and the flexible docking. Okay, so rigid docking is something you keep the protein molecule rigid, you don't change it. I will not change. All you need to do is you need to find the ligand coming to bind on them. Whereas flexible docking, you try to change the structure of the protein so that you identify more ligands and more poses where this particular ligand can bind in a different pose at the same time in that particular protein itself. So for one ligand, there are chances you may get more poses. So this pose is having more interaction. This pose is having more interaction. This pose is having the amino acid which I was looking into it, which should have an interaction for this particular activity. For example, I still remember histidine 139 is the amino acid that has to be binding with the drug candidate in the C chain of the cyclooxygenase 2 enzyme for which to produce an anti-inflammatory action. So once you identify the target, you can clearly see or check where exactly your target needs to bind. If you study that protein day by day, you get more highlights or interesting points about that particular thing where you get updated. And coming to my area, so this is where the Moldro virtual docker is a more important one, which is trying to predict the ligand and the protein interactions. And this is a German process where you see this Moldro virtual docker has the capacity of 87%, Glide 82, Surflex 75, and FlexX 58%, where we try. I'll show you a demo now. And then we have the free available software Autodoc. So we can easily get this in a free tool where I'll just say what is the difference between Autodoc and Moldro when I try to perform and show you the data. And this is exactly the most interesting tool where the ligand which you are trying to do is trying to produce a drug likeness tool or not. Okay, so before we go into the other topic, I'll just try to show you a demo of a Moldro virtual docker. Okay, so this is all about the Moldro virtual docker screen. So hope it is visible to all of you. So I'm just trying to eliminate this particular thing by clearing the workspace. So everything is gone. So once you open the Moldro virtual docker, so what I'll be getting here is a screen like this. So how this ligand and protein is trying to gain entry into my docking simulation process. Okay, so now I'll just take a protein data bank. Okay, so here the protein is going to get deposited in the protein data bank. So I'm just going to check it out. What is the protein? So this is what a PDB, a structural view of biology. So molecular biology, where all the molecules and the featured molecules of the things are being updated. So where if you want to see the protein of interest like 1B41, either it's a 4-member data to identify the protein directly. So this can be collected in the literature review. So you can see this is a human acetylcholinesterase complexed with fasciculated glycosylated proteins. Okay, so if you just try to find it out the 3D view, of this particular protein, or you can check the annotations of this particular protein. Okay, so all this structural view and elucidations of this protein you can see, and you can measure the 3D structure of the protein using various tools. So now the amino acid sequence, the tertiary, secondary, primary structures of acetylcholinesterase, or you can see here, can zoom in, I can check it out to the molecular level, I can zoom out. Okay, so this is how the protein data bank, the bioinformatics tool, is being deposited. Okay, and if you see the amino acid sequence, it is obtained from human, how many chains, and all those processes are being analyzed. And if you want to just get this particular protein into your computer models, all you need to do is, or else I'll just show you acetylcholinesterase. So this is how you try to determine the acetylcholine. So once you type here, you can see acetylcholine receptor, acetyl binding protein, acetylcholine enzymes. So here you see acetylcholine esterase, mutant acetylcholine esterase, acetylcholine esterase mescaline blue. So you need to exactly identify acetylcholine esterase. Okay, so this is the one which has been discovered. You can see the refinement process which is available to the site. So I want acetylcholine only from Homo sapiens. So I'll click Homo sapiens here. Okay, and I want the refinement solutions of Armstrong should be greater than 1.5 or 2 or 2.5, 3, 4 or this. And the release date should be between 20 to 24. Okay, so if I click the search, sometimes I get the structure. So you can see this is a crystal structure of a recombinant human acetylcholinesterase, which scientists are trying to determine the inhibition by the GP. So if you click exactly and get inside, so this is what a recombinant, instead of a monoclonal antibody, your target human acetylcholinesterase is being done. Okay, and you see this is exactly trying to produce the recent use of Malaysia. So this is for organophosphate poisoning. They have tried to identify. So here you can check whether you are having the human acetylcholinesterase or the which is trying to have the activity in the brain, or it is trying to have the activity in the peripheral neurons. So those things can be selected like that, and depending upon the refinement and the structures. So now we'll just try to take this human acetylcholinesterase. So you download the files here, you download it in PDB format. So this you can see 1B41 is now downloaded. Okay, so just now I just want to check a particular molecule, since already galantamine, ribostigmine and everything is available. Okay, I'll just check ribostigmine. Okay, from PubChem. So PubChem database is the one which is trying to produce the structures of many drugs that is available in the market. So this is one, a ribostigmine, which is available in 2D structure and 3D structure. So if you see, you can just download the 3D structure of this SDF molecule. You can just click the display molecule. So this is how the computer is taking the input of your molecule. So you just put all files and you just name it as riva.mol. Okay, so this riva.mol is being saved. Okay, so this is already there. So this one protein and one ribostigmine molecules I have taken into considerations. So now I'm getting back to my software so that I can get in that particular protein molecule and get in the ligand for which I am going to see the docking score. So I'm just trying to import the molecules. I'm just going to check what is this 1B41. So I'm just inserting it. So you may have warnings. So protein structure errors there, alternative structure error, but obviously during the preparation process, the assigned bonds, the assigned bond orders, if anything is missing, will be done by the inbuilt software. And obviously you can see this ligand of 38 atoms or 14 atoms is already present with the protein molecule. So in this particular type of docking, you no need to take up the protein ligand molecule that is coming with the protein, but you can just check it out with the protein So here you can see two chains, A chain where 4117 atoms are present, and in B chain we have the 464 atoms. So if you want to find your binding affinity is more only in the B chain and not in the A chain, so you can take the B chain specifically. Okay, and obviously water molecule debate is still going on because water is also a biomolecule that has to be taken into consideration. So in my docking process, I usually give the water molecule intact. So I just click the ligand. So you can see only the B chain of the protein is getting incorporated in. Okay, whereas I left the A chain. So if I want to take both the chains, just have a look at it. I'll just import the molecule. I just click 1B41 and I'll just try to take the ligand out, and I'll just try to import both the A chain and the B chain. So now you can see by clicking here, this is going to be the B chain and this is going to be the A chain. So if I click, unclick, click, unclick, automatically the B chain and the other chains will be shown. Okay. And coming to the rendering. So if you want to see the tools of sequence viewer. So what exactly is the sequence of my protein? So all the sequence you can see it over here. So A chain, it's by way of single amino acid sequence. So you can show three letter codes. So aspartate, alanine, glutamine, leucine, valine, isoline, and you can see this binding pockets of tertiary things located between arginine and glycine. And this is how the A chain and the B chain is trying to have a sequence of amino acids which is trying to correlate the primary, secondary, and the tertiary structures. And if you want to see the secondary structure view, so this is how the ribbon-like view of the acetylcholine esterase will be showing in the docking process. Okay, so this particular thing and whatever log we are trying to produce will zoom in and zoom out, and you can evaluate the particular protein, but we have not initiated the docking process. Okay. So now coming to the ligand that is going to be imported. So now it's time for me to import the ligand, which is the rivastigmine. So you see there is no warnings. So we need to prepare, and the ligand is being imported. Once it is imported, you can see this particular ligand is being to be produced. Okay. So only the protein I have and the ligand. If you click the ligand and try to put it in the sketch, you can see this particular rivastigmine that is available in the workspace. So now the ligand is available in the workspace, and you can see the protein is available in the workspace. Both are present, and we are going to prepare a grid and check whether to this protein this rivastigmine is capable of binding to. Okay, for that we need to prepare the molecules. Okay, so for preparation of molecules, we need to click prepare molecule. So the preparation will be done for water molecule, protein, ligands, and you see this preparation will be done basing on the assignation of the bonds, bond orders, and hybridization is missing. Expletive hydrogens are missed, they can be incorporated. So this will be prepared accordingly. So once prepared, you try to create a surface. So creating surface on water and protein molecule alone is like preparing a space, like the GPS software is trying to identify you are present in this particular thing is what exactly this is also trying to produce. Okay, so this one is now the surface has been created, and you see the red, blue, and white colors mainly due to the hydrogen, carbon, and other molecules depending upon the hydrophobicity and the polarity. And the ligand is also there in the space along with this particular protein. So you can hope you can see the ligand 2 in green color over here. Okay, so this is the ligand and this is the protein. So now coming to the, we have prepared the protein. Now we are going to detect the cavity. So exactly where you are standing. So for that, we need to right click on the protein, detect the cavity. So this cavity is an inbuilt software in Molgro Virtual Docker, which is trying to determine the binding affinity or the binding site. Okay, so this can be done depending upon two parameters: expanded van der Waals surface or the molecular surface. So we always prepare this expanded van der Waals, and as of now I just try to prepare two cavities in the protein. So once prepared, you can see the cavities will be visible here. So which is seen in the inside the acetylcholine esterase. So I just try to take this. See, so this is the cavity one which is present inside the particular enzyme. So this is where the possibility is there for our particular protein ligand to go and bind. Okay. So if you click here, so this cavity, this is one cavity which is found here. The other cavity is present deep in, so that the visibility is not available. So this is how the grid is being produced. Okay, so this is the cavity. So now coming to the everything is prepared, the grid is prepared, the statistics is done. Now we are going to perform the docking study. So we go for the docking wizard, and then we have only one ligand and the one protein, so automatically it is taken up. And then we have the preparation. So we are not going to prepare the grid, but we are going to run a flexible docking where we are going to screen 1 lakh molecules or 10,000 molecules or 1,000 molecules to bring it to the top 3 molecules or the top 10 molecules, which is going to go into the next stage like in vitro and in vivo studies. So this is what the target-based drug discovery is trying to produce. And if you see, you try to prepare or identify the cavity, the grid will be formed. So can you see, once I increase the grid, it is trying to produce the place where this ligand is going to bind is going to be in that particular cavity. Okay, so I prepare that, and then I click it here. I go for the Moldoc optimizer, optimizing for the maximum things. So I'll give 1 runs, and in 1 run, number of poses. So I'll usually give 2, maximum 3, like triplicate if you want to check which pose is the best pose. 3 would be think, since due to time restrictions, I'm going for 2. So in protein residues, there are wrong number of protein residues in an atom. Obviously, it can be rigged, but you need to check it out that again, you go back to the protein and check the residue molecules are not that much incorporated. And then you start the process. So once you start the docking process, you can check how the current pose is trying to produce an interaction with the enzyme. So this ligand interaction enzyme is trying to produce the run, and it is going to give me 2 pores of rivastigmine which is going to bind. Okay, so suppose if you imagine you are going to collect or prepare using ligand preparation energy tool and other tools of your side chain modifications, you are going to prepare 20 molecules, you can come to top 3. 100 molecules, you can come to top 10. 10,000 molecules, you can come to top 20. 1 lakh molecules, you can also come to top 1. Taking into consideration all the Moldoc score, re-rank score, hydrogen bond interactions, everything will be taken into consideration. So that will be checked out for this molecule using energy ligand inspector tool. So now you can see within 2 minutes, I was able to perform this particular docking of rivastigmine with acetylcholine esterase. So rivastigmine is obviously an anticholine esterase, which is trying to bind to the choline esterase of the humans and trying to inhibit its action. So once it is done, you can see I've got 2 poses. So according to the Moldoc score is -80, 756 and -5D, 756. So out of this, which is the best molecule? So the best molecule is going to be which is having the least affinity. So again, there is a doubt whether this molecule is going to inhibit or stimulate the action. Okay, so docking will give you the affinity. Okay, but the inhibition or stimulation has been checked into the in vitro or the in vivo studies. So this was the question asked by many of them. So the affinity is checked, where it binds, how it binds, what is the proportion it binds. But what is the inhibition or stimulation? Whether it is minus na affinity, positive na it's going to be stimulation. No, it's not going to be like that. If it is going to be the least value, it is going to have the maximum affinity. So what I do is, you just click drag here, you just bring it to the workspace. You can close this. So the work is done. So now you select both these molecules of rivastigmine, click it OK, this will come here. So then what we do is, in order to publish, as a publication point of view, we need to identify the post organizer. Okay, so we need to have the post of that particular thing. So we try to remove this particular ligand, the post of this particular one. So open ligand energy inspector tool for that particular post. So you can see targets. So E intra, E electra, all these effects are being produced by the rivastigmine molecule. And this is the residue with which this particular rivastigmine molecule has produced a target on these particular things. And if you click here, Hall, so you can see this particular rivastigmine molecule is trying to interact with some of the amino acids, and they don't, you can see a hydrogen bond interaction. So water molecule, one water molecule has been removed. So if I click water molecule, red color things will come. Okay. So this blue color one is the hydrogen bond interaction. So you can check it here. So this is trying to form an hydrogen bond interaction with the water molecule. So if I click here, the water molecule is going to be 688. Okay. And it is not having the interaction with the amino acids, but anyhow, it is trying to bind with a certain affinity. And if I just try to click it out, okay. So this is how I just try to create the labels for those particular amino acids. So once I click it here, you can see 309, 311, proline 312, glutathione, glutamate 313, pro aspartate, proline, glutathione, lysine, proline, arginine, histidine, tryptophan. So this is what and how my molecule is trying to go. And if I want to name my create labels for the atom, so molecule name and molecular weight. So molecular weight of greater than 500 Daltons would not be preferred according to the Drew-Little property. So you can see the molecular weight of rivastigmine is 250.34, and you can see this is the interactions, and this image I can render it out and I can use it for publication. So this is what is the final endpoint of my docking study. Even if you're trying to perform the docking study with 100 molecules or 10,000 molecules or 1,000 molecules, the top 3 molecules or top 10 molecules would be the preferred one. And what methodology you have been adopted to identify it is a flexible ligand docking process. We'll try to help you in screening the various process using computer tools. And this is what exactly the molecular docking is all about. Okay. And coming to the concept of other parameters, so which I was trying to explain to you. So this is what, and the difference, Molgro versus Autodock. Okay. So Autodock would take into consideration only the hydrogen molecule interaction. But if you have a look at the Moldoc, so if I take the ligand energy inspector tool, so you can see many interactions are being taken into consideration. So we can see Moldoc score is being built up on this re-rank weight, re-rank score. So here you see the total energy is actually due to the external ligand interactions and the internal ligand interactions. In external ligand interactions, we have protein ligand interactions, cofactor ligand interactions, water ligand interactions, and internal ligand interactions. We have various chemical parameters like torsional strain, torsional things, hydrogen bonds, steric PLP, steric IGLC, electrostatic interactions, constraint penalty or space penalty. Everything is given statistically, taking into consideration the chemical properties of the protein and the ligand binding. So here, Autodock, if you take, you will get only the hydrogen bond interaction. So that is what is the difference between Autodock and that. Okay, but still Autodock is still the most preferred docking binding energy because it was able to predict to the maximum percentage if that hydrogen bond interaction is available. There are chances for that ligand to be a better molecule or a better compound. That's why still this Autodock interactions and these binding sites are trying to be emulated with the commercial software that is already available. So that is what, as you go about these Schrodinger, Glide and LigPrep molecule and other softwares are the higher molecules which you try buy out of your projects or fundings. So these are the basic process you should be knowing, but you can just go or have an hands-on experience on Autodock in order to have an exposure of this particular thing. Okay. And coming to the Drew-Little property. So drug likeliness tool. So drug likeliness tool is being developed by the Nipur Mohali under a famous professor. So who has taken his team. If you go to this particular website, you can see the developer and all these contact us. So this is a very, very interesting tool to identify the ADMET parameters, taking into consideration the various physicochemical properties of Lipinski rule, blood-brain barrier, Weber's rule, MDDR rule. Many parameters are being involved. And it is very, very interesting to see. This is one of the Indian software which is, I'm trying to project to you. Okay. And if you see, this is the outlet of how this particular software is trying to look. So you can see this Lipinski rule, ghost filter, CMC 50 like rule, Weber rule, all trying to try blood-brain barrier likeness rule, which is a very important point. If the particular reverse segment has the potential to cross the blood-brain barrier and reach the brain. So that can be evaluated using this blood-brain barrier. Okay. So if you just check exactly how these tools are being determined, so it will be very interesting to check. So I just give the credits of this tool to software. So which will be interesting. So the developer is Rahul Gangwal sir and motivated by the Professor P.V. Bharadam sir. And this developing is available as a home software where you can download it. And if you can see Lipinski rule. So each and every rule, what exactly is stated by the scientists are being postulated here. So Lipinski rule, number of hydrogen bonds should be less than 5. Number of hydrogen bond acceptors should be less than 10. Molecular weight should be less than 500 Daltons, and C log P, that is the log P partition coefficient, should be less than 5, and not more than 2 of the rules should be broken down. So that is what the famous Lipinski rule for drug-like candidate, whether your chemical molecule or the entity has drug-likeness property or not. Okay, so this is what is this particular rule 2, and you can download the software from here. So both for Windows and Mac it is available. And they have postulated the references by which they have developed this particular software. And I'll just run quickly into these, the working condition of this software. So all you need to do is browse the particular ligand, so which is going to be present in the place of location you need to identify. So you need to identify the ligand's SDF, open it, calculate properties. So once you calculate the properties, so it will be very, you can see the progress of this particular green color, which will be indicated here, taking into consideration the title. So I have prepared 10 molecules in that, and you can see, so these are the various common molecules which I have developed. So these molecules, one by one, it will try to screen. So at the time, you can just look the process of how many molecules you can just try to see. So the most common parameters for our chemical synthesis molecule to act as drug would be taken into consideration, where we have the Lipinski rule, the ghost filter. So we have the molecular weight, the log P, the partition coefficient, the anti-logarithm of log P, hydrogen bond acceptor, hydrogen bond toner, TPSA, AMR, number of rotational bonds, number of atoms, and number of acidic group, RC, rigid bond, aromatic group, SLH. So everything will be taken into considerations. Okay. So once this 10 molecules will be down, so if we calculate, so if we click ghost filter, CMC rule, and if we try to apply, so once this 10 molecule is being done, if we apply the filter, we can clearly see how many molecules have passed the test and how many molecules have failed the test. So this is very, very interesting to check. So they let this process be running. So we'll go into the other topic of this toxicity estimation software tool. So this is a very interesting software which is being developed by this particular EPA government. So this is again a software which I'll show you. So I'm able to access it. So toxicity estimation software tool. So this is a software where you can download this particular software. It is by the United States Environmental Protection Agency, whereby the various QSAR methodologies you are trying to estimate the toxicity estimation. Then you can just by the click of the button, you can just check it out the fatted menu. So the fish, 96 are 50% lethal concentration, 48 are Daphne magni, tetrahydroform, so all the smaller forms like brainstem lethality assay, and even oral rat LD50 value, developmental toxicity assays like tetragenicity, carcinogenicity, and Ames mutagenicity assays can also be performed. And apart from that, the normal physicochemical properties like normal boiling point, flash point, surface tension, everything can be determined. And this 5.1 version is very, very interesting, where you have the various QSAR methodologies and the description of all the installments of this particular software, and you can download the 64-bit and other things. The reference has been given. What are the QSAR methodologies they have adopted here is the hierarchical method. So weighted average predictions of several different models, and single molecule method, multilinear regression models, and so all these are statistical tools, and group contribution methods, nearest neighbor method, or consensus method, or mode of action method. So these are the QSAR methodologies that is taken up by the software by the prediction of this particular molecules. Okay, so this is how exactly this particular molecule is trying to work in the toxicity estimation software tool. So once that particular DRU-LITU, drug likeness property tool, is over, I will just let you know how the toxicity estimation of oral rat 50 or carcinogenicity is being done using this software. Now, again, I have a very important directory to show to you. So this is very, very important. click2drug.org, which is responsible for homology modeling. So there, we don't have a target. We try to build up our own target. Okay. So in that case, the homology modeling would be preferred. So where you try to develop your own acetylcholine esterase, taking into consideration all the acetylcholine esterase that is available in the protein data bank, you try to change, you try to modify the structure, and you try to prepare your own acetylcholine esterase enzyme. So that is what is homology modeling. But coming to the point of this particular compound, so this is the ultimate click-to-drug. Swiss Institute of Bioinformatics is providing this particular software, where you can see the prepare select molecules for screening, homology modeling, molecular modeling, preparation to. So once you click here, you will show all the modeling that is software that is available for that particular predictions. So I thought only some few softwares were available, but when coming into this particular molecular biology and bioinformatics, which is throwing a vast infinity areas or arenas of research, I was really amazed to see so many molecules, so many databases. So if you click a database to develop ADME toxicity model, automatically that model will come here. So ADME toxicity databases. So how many models are there? You can have a look at here. And if you want, if I again click at the affinity estimation or structure-based docking, so database handling, chemical structure presentations, 3D viewers. So you can binding site prediction softwares. You can have the databases where you can get the proteins or other things, web servers, docking softwares, Autodock, Dock, Gold, Glide, Insomna, GlamDock, FlexiAid, GemDock. All the softwares that is available for docking is present in this database. So this is the database I thought I would share with you, because it is very interesting. At the click of the button, you just click or see how many softwares are there to estimate. Okay, and you can just check it out of your reviews, how many are trying to produce the exact results and which is going to have the maximum percentage. Okay, and coming to the last, so this is out of my purview of in silico pharmacological and toxicological evaluation, which I've completed. But now I'm into this zebrafish research, where I've developed my own lab of this evaluations of neuropharmacological, especially the stress-induced anxiolytic activity, which I was able to evaluate using an anime software, which I thought I would share with all the audience, because it is a very, very interesting area. And if you want to take it up as an alternative to clinical research, this will be very interesting, because this has become more interesting, which has taken 70% of the human genomes take into account. And in coming to the molecular level, the neuroregeneration process, the development from the egg hatching out, and the development of the neuronal things can be easily studied in this particular zebrafish model, and very physical injury or chemical injury can be done. How this particular neuronal degeneration disease can be studied within a short time using these particular models. The importance of this zebrafish is It has a small and robust thing. It is cheaper to maintain than mice. It produces hundreds of offsprings. So the hatching assay, which is also governed by the OECD guidelines for estimating the zebrafish toxicity assay as in vivo toxicity evaluation study, compared to that of OECD 423 guidelines, is also available for zebrafish. So it has a short reproductive cycle. Development of internal structures can be easily seen. Over 70% of the human genes have the true orthology with connection with the zebrafish genome. So this zebrafish has the major organs and tissues as compared to that of the humans. So this is what is very interesting, trying to be in the alternative field of research. So molecules is getting updated. So only 14 molecules. So I have done it for a series of molecules like pinorosinol, apigenin, aspartic, becoside, becopomoniaria, morindin, morinda citrifolia, rivastigmin. So we have the rivastigmin here. So we can check it out whether rivastigmin has the potency to cross the blood-brain barrier or not using this TrueLito software. So coming to the valley of death. So where we exactly lack. So we are unable to correlate the in silico with in vitro to in vivo. So even in our pharmacokinetic data, we are unable to do it. But how we need to take it, the level, what research, what we are doing in our academia to the industry. So that is what we are lacking in the translational side. So basic research from the preclinical level, how it is can be taken into the clinical science of clinical research. Okay, so what are the lacunas? So if you see, the reproducibility is a lacuna. We are unable to reproduce the exact result with the exact procedure. The clinical relevance is highly misleading. Structurality is not prevailing. Investigator base is completely missing. And technical expertise, so who are really technically expertise in the field, we are unable to get them. Support, intellectuality, regulatory aspects, privacy issues. Obviously, most important concept is the funding, and then incentives, the risk, collaboration between the academia and the industry is lacking. Follow through. So none of us will follow through in whatever the research, what we have done. Unless the follow through is there in that particular stream of research, what we are performing, we will not be able to take it to the academia, to the industry. And finally, the time factors. So obviously, we are going to live for a short period of time, but we can take the expertise of the Nobel laureates who have won and done the miracles with the inventions of artemisinin and ivermectins. So who have crossed this valley of death and who have still proved that these particular natural resources are the ultimate drugs which will try to produce more adverse free or adverse effects or with less side effects. So coming to the process of this, so basic research is what the molecular neuroscience is trying to impart in us. It's our responsibility to take into the preclinical development, taking into consideration the toxicological and the pharmacological at various stages of in silico, in vitro, and in vivo. And then we have the clinical trials and then the final FDA approval. So these are my references. And with the completion of this particular TrueLito software, I'll be winding up my speech. Okay. So thank you. And if you have any doubts or queries or clarifications, you can ask me. Please, madam. Okay. So the molecular property calculation is completed now. So now I'm going to apply the rule. Okay. So all I need to do is I go here, I go and apply the filter. So once I apply the filter and see Lipinski rule, so you can see this particular things which are assembled in green color has the potential to develop like drug-like candidate. Whereas this red color doesn't have that particular property. Okay. And coming to the other one, the most important blood-brain barrier likeliness tool of this neuropharmacology. So I need to just click it here and apply filter. So you can see blood-brain barrier likeliness, rivastigmin has passed. So this has proved that particular rivastigmin is crossing the blood-brain barrier and it has the likeliness to do so. Okay, so this is how using this TrueLito software, the CMC route, none have passed, and summary, you can just check it out. How many molecules have been screened? Total amount of molecules violated the rule, Gauche filter, blood-brain barrier likeliness rule, and individual things you can just put it in your own words and create miracles with research publications. So actually the concept here is docking studies alone is not mandatory as of now. So pharmacology, pharmacokinetics, ADMET has to come into play, toxicology like DRULITU, and drug likeness tool like DRULITU, and toxicology like toxicity estimation software tool. So you use more software and you try to project your research, intercorrelating things. Obviously, your research will be published in a very reputed journal. So this is very, very interesting topic where you can just try to investigate more. So hope I have made my level best for this particular opportunity given to me. So I'm ready to take up the questions now, madam. Please.
Excellent, sir. Very lucid presentation, really, and the way you taken up the presentation was so wonderful. And you made that successful by sticking all the students to the meeting, actually. So there is no entry and exit, and people consistently listening to your session. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for
did
the
very
opportunity.
wonderful, very wonderful. I'm really impressed a lot. And so if you permit me, I'll take up a few more questions in the chat box.
Sure, madam. Please, madam.
So there is a question from Rajeshwari Madam, sir. In zebrafish models, have to estimate the body weight, blood parameters.
Madam, as of now, I have just I'm just working with that particular parameters of observing the thing, video recording it, and producing the effect, ma'am. So far the body weight we used to measure with the particular weighing machine, and we just try to take it back. But we have not started collecting any blood parameters. But we are into just identifying or isolating the zebrafish brain for this acetylcholinesterase enzyme, madam, because this is a very good source for acetylcholinesterase as of now. And using this DTNB reagent for brain acetylcholinesterase estimation, this would be very interesting, ma'am. And collecting blood from a zebrafish model like pharmacokinetic parameters, or whether the drug has reached the bloodstream of the zebrafish, or are those still prevailing there, the questions, because it's not going to be the oral route what we are going to atmosphere administer, and it is going to be like an environment in which we are going to give the zebrafish exposure for a particular time, and we try to put it back. But definitely in ecotoxicological research, what it states that is air pollutants, water pollutants in nanomolecular range are trying to reach the zebrafish in one way or the other, ma'am. So even as we humans are exposed to more air pollutants and water pollutants using microplastics and all things are a very big concern. So this zebrafish research is booming as of now for that particular concept, and I don't prefer that blood sample collection from zebrafish as of now, because we have alternative models like rabbit, where frequently blood samples can be collected, where the particular things can be done or not. So that I prefer this in vitro in vivo correlation study you can done, but I am very particular about the monitoring behavior that through video recording, like novel tank test, light dark model test, where you try to produce your research in such a manner so that you incorporate the drug and you try to test it behaviorally. Pharmacological models is most preferred model in the zebrafish rather than other type of models like blood sample collection, drug administration, and other things. So this is my perspective as of now, since I have done a research and it is in the process of queries in Indian Journal of Pharmacology and Arabian Journal of Chemistry, where I have communicated it, and still queries are going on, because many scientists, same like you, are asking these parameters, but which I think is normally not possible. And this particular brain estimation we have done, where which we are standing on top of others, where using the DTAB reagent, Elman's reagent method for estimation of acetylcholinesterase was really wonderful, madam.
Yes, sir. There is some more other questions, sir. In chat box, you can access, sir.
Yes, sir. Please. What are the? How I go to the chat box? More chat. Okay. Good afternoon, sir. In zebrafish, how to estimate
From GSN Koteshwar Rao, sir.
Okay, GSN Koteshwar Rao. It's down.
Sir, there is another one question from Rajeshwari Madam. Sir, there is a continuation. Like, is there any ethical clearance for zebrafish?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. It is
for carry out
madam.
the experiment.
Yes, madam. Actually, for zebrafish, it is needed, madam, because till the hatching point, from the egg to the hatching assay, until 14 days, zebrafish will not feel the pain. Once they start to feel the pain during the 3rd weeks or the 4th weeks, where the vertebral columns are being developed, obviously, we have to take the ethics approval for the experiments on adult zebrafish, madam. It is mandatory and it is even available in Ramachandra, madam. So that is what is happening. And as asked by Kotishwara Rao, sir, that's it not going to influence the proposed research work. Sir, we can just take it this as an advantage to us, sir, because in silico zebrafish study, I mean, the part of the research what we are doing it can be considered as every 6-month report. And if you do in silico for 6 months, in vitro for 6 months, in vivo zebrafish for 6 months, and we just try to go to the animal models of already existing things for 6 months, I hope our research scholars can try to fill up this particular 6 months area, and their expertise or research would be streamlined. So that is what is my opinion. So no need to waste the entire 3 years of your research in this particular zebrafish, but obviously other models can be done. But this particular things can be avoided, sir. And zebrafish hatching assay. So from the models of this infants developmental stages assays is a promising assay even in the OECD guidelines, sir. We have the approval for that.
And sir, if you permit me, I'll take another one more question.
Yes, madam.
Have to validate a pose of ligand in molecular docking.
But the pose can be optimized, ma'am. In some cases, there are experiments where you can just try to need to just relax the process. Okay. So if I really want to relax the molecule, there are many softwares which are trying to deliberately looking into it. But in Moldgrow, Virtual Docker, and other commercial softwares, the ligand will be automatically alligated or validated, ma'am. So that is why the prepare molecule, where the preparation of the ligand is also done, there it will be validated automatically. When you go to Autodock, there you need to add hydrogen bond to the ligand, and then only you can have or can see the interaction between the hydrogen molecules of the ligand with the protein, but not in the case of Moldgrow, where it is inbuilt, ma'am. And even in Schrodinger, if you want to use different softwares, they have glide for docking, they have ligprep tool for ligand preparation, they have binding site prediction, site P molecule for binding the site of the molecule where our ligand is going to bind. So their inbuilt softwares are available in glide, where the Schrodinger is giving as a package, map. So that is true, sir. That will be automatically validated inside the software.
Yes.
And another question, Madam Narendra, sir, which one more reliable in docking, sir? Scoring function. Yes, sir. Sir, I have forgot to tell you that 2 parameters I have got, right? So one is the post organizer view. If you see, I am having these 2 parameters. So Moldoc score, re-rank score, hydrogen bond. So if you see, this hydrogen bond interaction is more for this particular post, whereas Moldoc score is more for this -80. Okay, so depending upon the same ligand, we go for Moldoc score, sir, because even the hydrogen bond is here. You see other parameters, sir, that is taken up by the software. So for protein ligand interaction, steric PLP, LJ12 molecule interaction. So in order to compare the ligands of different molecules, Moldoc score is the one that is prepared, sir. But if you take Autodock, this molecule would be preferred, -177. So this is the molecule which is having hydrogen bond interaction. So that one will be the preferred molecule in the Autodock. And re-rank score, out of this, between the same ligand, which pose is the best? So that is the re-rank score, sir. So each and every software has their own scoring function. So glide score for glide software of Schrodinger, Autodock score for Autodock score of their hydrogen bond interactions. So each and everything has their own functions, and it is our predictability to opt and understand which scoring function we will prepare for the best pose that is recovered out of a molecule, sir.
Sir, we have another one.
Yes, madam. Which amino acid residues interaction should be given importance? Only drug binding amino acid residues interaction with ligand versus all the amino acids at the active site. Madam, first preference would be with the hydrogen bond interaction, madam. Even we had a hydrogen bond interaction with the water molecule, that can be mentioned because water molecule is considered as a biomolecule. And apart from that, there is also other parameters like steric or van der Waals interactions or torsion energy. If we go and bind to that each and every amino acids, that can be considered. But to answer your question specifically, all the amino acids at the active site. So how I have determined for this particular thing. So the entire amino acids were present. But when coming to the concept, this is the binding site pocket. And these are the amino acids which are trying to interact with my ligand. And you can see this particular things. So this is hydrogen bond. This is torsion energies. So all these can be taken into consideration, ma'am.
Sir, there is another one more question from
Madam, yes, madam. When you speak about the negative values consideration in each cases of score, hydrogen bond, so that is the affinity, madam. So least the value, you have the better affinity. For example, 0 is greater or minus 200 is greater, 0 is greater. So the least value is going to be minus 200. So 0, minus 50, minus 100, minus 200, which is greater 0. So out of minus 50, minus 100, minus 200, which is greater minus 50. So the least minus, the more it signifies, more affinity will be there for the particular ligand to that particular protein, madam.
Yes, sir. And is there any faculty member willing to speak to sir for your inquiry clarifications? You can unmute and
I have shown too many softwares, ma'am. I hope they will be confused with all these softwares because I will be frequently shifting on the tabs of this particular software. So some if they miss it out, they can't get it. That's what the problem with our presentation.
Okay, no worries. Sir. And any of the faculty member is willing to speak a question to sir? Or do you have any query? Please unmute your mic and you can straight away ask the question to sir.
Okay, ma'am. I'm providing the mail ID, ma'am. It's there on the screen.
Okay.
If any of them have any queries and they want any suggestions or clarification, they can write to me, ma'am. So
Yes,
they are
sir.
most welcome, please.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Definitely. And I hope faculty may take best of it, sir.
Sure.
Yeah. Sir, if you please stop sharing your screen.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you so very much for your wonderful and excellent presentation, sir. It was so practical and you made it so live actually. And I just take this opportunity to present the certificate of appreciation to you virtually, and please accept our endless gratitude.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And I thank all the participants for the patient listening, ma'am.
Just a second, sir. And here is a memento for you to say. So the copy of the certificate and memento will be hard copy of the certificate and memento will be presented to you. Sir.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
in a week or two, definitely we'll be just
Okay.
sending you through by post.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. And
thank you, madam. And I thank our beloved principal, sir, and all the management for providing me with this opportunity. And my sincere thanks to AICTE for providing this opportunity. And this is my second AICTE lecture. And I really thank you for coordinating with me, even during night or day you called me. I hope I fulfill your activity of coming one day earlier, madam.
Definitely, sir. That is a one great thing I must acknowledge here, because actually, as per the program schedule, your session is on tomorrow, but because of few adjustments, I made you to pull up to the today. So, and you all accepted with a great heart. That's a wonderful thing, sir. Really.
Sure, please.
And it's a good quality of a teacher that everybody must learn actually. So adjustment and acceptance is very important.
Thank you. Hope all the audience got benefited. That is what.
Yes, sir. And you can see a lot of positive comments in chat box too. So people are just reflecting their opinions in the messages in chat box too.
Thank you all.
Yeah, and also, sir, it's a moment that we have connected with Seven Hills College of Pharmacy, and I request you to kindly assist with us in future events too, sir.
Yes, madam. Sure, madam. Anytime you can call me, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, definitely. And thank you so very much for your wonderful.
Thank you, madam. Thank you all.
Pleasure to have you, sir. Namaste. Bye bye, sir. And thank you so much. Thank you so much